Our next broadcast was the brainchild of Jack Webb and may very well be the most well-remembered and best radio police drama series of all time. It ran from September in 1949 through February 1957 in 30-minute shows broadcast on NBC, and it brought to radio true police stories in a low-key documentary style. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A large hospital in your city is held up. $10,000 in high-grade narcotics is stolen. The bandits escape. Your job. Get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 23rd. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Colonel. My name's Friday. It was 7:16 a.m. when we got to St. Christopher's Hospital, the pharmacy. How do you do?
Yes?
Police officer, sister. You'd like to see Sister Mary Benedict?
I'm she.
Mother Superior sent us down to see you, sister. We're investigating a narcotic robbery.
Oh, yes, there have been quite a few policemen here in the past hour. I believe it was the fingerprint men who just left. As soon as I have their cars. Yes, there was from Leighton Fingerprint Division.
Stahl and the boy from Leighton Print.
Yes, that's right. Sergeant Harlan Stahl.
Sister, we're the investigating officers assigned to the case. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Are you a lieutenant?
No, I'm a sergeant. I wonder if you could start right from the beginning for us. Just tell us what you know about the robbery.
Well, after Mass, I went to breakfast, and then I came downstairs here to the pharmacy to open up.
You keep the pharmacy locked overnight?
Oh, yes, always. We always assign an intern on night duty. He has the key in case any medicines are needed during the night. He's authorized to issue what may be needed upon the doctor's request.
Who else has a key to the pharmacy, sister?
Well, there are just three keys. Mother Superior keeps one at her desk, and we have one for the intern on duty, and I have one.
All right. You want to go on?
When I got down here this morning, I started to unlock the door and found it ajar. There were no lights on. I snapped on the wall switch. That one.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I saw young Jimmy Lyons.
That's the intern?
Yes, he was unconscious on the floor. I could see his head had been cut. He was bleeding profusely.
What'd you do then?
I called Mother Superior, and she came right down. Dr. Spencer was summoned. He came in and started administering aid to intern Lyons here on the floor.
Was that when you found out the narcotics were missing?
No, not just at that moment. Both Mother Superior and myself were quite worried about young Lyons' condition. It was really Mother Superior who first noticed the narcotics safe had been tampered with.
Your stories don't exactly jibe there, sister.
How do you mean?
Mother Superior gives you credit for first noticing the theft.
Oh, my, no. She's very charitable, but she's the first one that pointed to the safe. She's very observant.
I understand. Go ahead, please.
Upon checking the safe, we found that someone had taken our entire store of narcotics. Everything.
Was that the safe over there?
Yes, that's the narcotics safe. Don't touch that, Mr. Friday.
No?
No, never. Nothing is to be touched until the police have completed their investigation. Clues.
Well, we're the police, sister.
Then, do you have all the clues you need?
Well, I wouldn't know, but the men from Latent Fingerprints have dusted everything here, so it's all right to touch things now.
That was Mr. Holland Stone, his name?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I didn't know.
We understand you have the inventory list.
Yes, I have it on my desk. Here.
Thank you.
We keep a running inventory, so that's the exact amount that's missing.
Yes, ma'am. Cocaine and morphine. No bird's eye, Joe.
Big haul.
Looks like about 10,000 worth.
Like to have a copy of this inventory, sister?
Would you take the carbon? I like to keep the originals for my monthly file.
That'll be fine.
Outside of this intern Lyons, nobody saw whoever it was.
No. Mother Superior and I have interrogated everyone. We made a thorough investigation on our own. I took notes.
That's so.
Yes, that's the way Father Brown does it.
Father Brown?
Yes, he's an expert detective.
Brown. You wouldn't mean Thad Brown?
No, Father Brown.
Father Brown. You people have your own detectives now?
Oh, my, no. He's not a regular detective. He's more like Mother Superior and myself.
Is that right?
Yes, he's in England. Solves some really difficult cases. Here, I'll show you. See right here? The Triple Cross, another exciting Father Brown mystery by G.K. Chesterton.
Oh.
Yes, I have all but one of the Father Brown books. Well, the Superior has it. I get it after she finishes.
Mm-hmm. What's the condition of the intern?
Resting comfortably. Dr. Spencer says he'll be all right. Had to take 9 stitches in his scalp.
We'd like to talk to him.
I'm sure that'll be all right. I don't have to tell you, we all think this is a terrible thing.
Yes, sister, it is.
All those narcotics. Whoever took them will distribute them, won't they?
Well, that's our guess, sister. The stuff will be sold to addicts.
What makes a dope addict? How do they get started? Why do they do it?
I don't know, sister. I'd give you a lot of reasons.
None of them good.
None of them good.
And for a few moments of fun. Tonight they have it and tomorrow they have nothing.
That's about the size of it, sister.
Stars are setting and the caravan starts for the dawn of nothing.
The Bible.
No, Omar Khayyam.
Before we left St. Christopher's Hospital, we talked with intern James Lyons. Since he was slugged from behind, he failed to see his assailant. He could tell us nothing. The entire hospital staff was screened thoroughly. They could add nothing to what we already knew. Between 6 and 7 o'clock that morning, $10,000 worth of high-grade prescription narcotics had been stolen. Somewhere in the city of Los Angeles was the answer. As in all narcotics cases, speed is the prime factor. Whoever held those narcotics wouldn't waste any time diluting or cutting it and making it ready for quick sale. Our job was to stop them. 5 minutes past 8 a.m., we checked in with Sergeant Harlan Stahl at Latent Fingerprints Detail.
Not much help, is it?
That's all you got, huh?
Yeah, the safe was clean, not a print on it. No prints anywhere in the room. Slugged the intern from behind, took his keys, tore a belt loop off his trousers, opened the safe and waltzed out. Couldn't have been cleaner.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything on your end, huh?
Nothing.
Gentlemen,
Captain?
I picked one up.
Who is he?
Junker by the name of Dave Kellogg. He's really seeing CNC, but he's coming out of it. Let's go talk to him. Check you later, Stone.
Yeah. What's the story on him?
Wallace and Hunt picked him up. Downtown L.A. He's sitting in a parked car at 4th and Broadway. Told him first he was a 390, but they couldn't raise him. He's down this way.
What else?
Well, Wallace figured he must be geed up, so they rolled up his sleeve to look for the spike marks. They found him.
Find anything on him?
Yeah, there were 2 vials of M on the seat beside him, prescription stuff. You got that list of serial numbers from the hospital?
Yeah, right here.
All right, let's go in. Wallace?
Yeah, Captain?
Friday's got a list of the serial numbers on that hospital heist. Hop down and check them against the vials you found in his car.
Yeah, here you are, Wallace.
Thanks, Joe. How you feeling, babe?
All right.
Kellogg, this is Friday and Romero, Central Division.
I see him.
You want to tell us about it?
Nothing to tell.
Living high, aren't you?
I'm unusual.
It's not the way I get it. You're scoring good. Prescription stuff.
Birthday present from a friend.
Who is it?
I want to keep this friendship.
Who's your connection, babe?
I don't know.
You know that morphine we picked out of your car is hot.
Isn't all of it?
Hospital pharmacy was knocked over this morning. The numbers on those vials of yours match up. You're in a real jam.
No numbers on them.
You might as well tell us where you got it.
I'm not going to be a Fagin for you.
Nobody's asking to be a Fagin, Kellogg. That's high-powered stuff. If we don't get anybody else, it can go hard for you.
I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
You want to stand alone on this one, not the idea?
I didn't say that.
Well, one of us isn't going to go along and hold your hand. How about it? Who's your connection?
All right, it isn't going to be a long wait, Kellogg. As soon as Waters gets back with those serial numbers, you can play hero all afternoon.
We'll be on the 12th floor of the county jail, babe. You won't have to wait long there either. The minute you put one foot in that courtroom, the judge will throw everything he's got at you.
2 bottles of drugstore stuff?
Robbery, Kellogg. $10,000.
Well, this is good, but 2 bottles ain't worth that much.
And you only show a part of it. Maybe you got the rest of it at your plant.
You got my plant. 1931 Essex. 4-wheel brake.
Your car's being checked out.
Didn't find any more, did you? No. I couldn't be that lucky.
You feel pretty good now, but you'll get a yen on.
You won't help me. You never do.
When's the last time you helped us?
Your memory's worse than mine. I helped you. I helped you guys a lot. Don't you remember the Frank Smith plant?
No.
1933, Friday night last. I led you right through Smitty's plant. Smitty didn't have no geezer like he found on me. He was a big man. We turned up 4 kites on him.
Not for us, you didn't.
Sure I did. Right here in Kansas City. I done you a big favor that night. Friday night last.
A different town and a different night, babe.
You're kidding. In St. Louis?
Seeing Steve.
Yeah.
Don't kid me along. This is Kansas City. Where is St. Louis?
You're in Los Angeles, babe. Los Angeles, California.
You're kidding. Clenard wouldn't do that to me.
Who's Clenard?
11th and Baltimore. Hangs out down at the Continental Hotel.
That's in Kansas City.
Yeah, Marty Clenard. Tough cop. He said to make a hut for me. He didn't want me in KC. Gave me a floater out of town. That's why I came here to St. Louis.
You're in Los Angeles, babe. You got it? Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. You told me.
Step outside a minute.
Yeah. Stay with him a minute.
Right.
That's it.
Checks out, huh?
Somebody cut through the serial number stamps on the vials, but you can still make them out. The 2 vials of morphine we found in Kellogg's car were from the hospital pharmacy.
Thanks, Warner. Let's try it again, Friday.
Right.
All right, babe. Now let's cut out the jokes. Those 2 vials you had came from the hospital. The numbers check out.
No numbers on those vials.
How do you know? You probably didn't even look at them.
Oh, yeah, I looked. No numbers on them.
We found them all right.
I don't see how you could read them. I couldn't.
Why not?
Somebody scratched them off.
Who, babe?
You wouldn't know.
Try it.
How much heat do I have to stand if I take it along?
Plenty. There was an intern slugged on that job. Hurt pretty bad. They're going to tag you for assault, too.
I never hit anybody in my life.
How do we know?
I just told you.
We don't know you didn't pull this job. We haven't got any proof.
Once more, what's the count?
Goes like this, babe. First-degree robbery, 5 years to life. Assault with a deadly weapon, 1 to 10. Violation of the State Narcotics Act, 1 to 15. You can add. That'll lose you up there. You can get a real yen on by that time. There's no buzzing up at you.
I can't go that route.
Where'd you get this stuff?
I'd rather be a Fagin than spend 50 years at the joint.
You convinced us. Where'd you get it?
Anybody turned Fagin before they spent 50 years at you. No, I can't go that route.
Where'd you get it, babe?
From some drug opera.
Who?
I gave him $700. Clean me.
Who?
Company fastened himself up as a croaker. I can spot a guy's been hitting speedballs a mile away. I knew he wasn't any croaker.
What was his name?
He was scoring good somewhere. Oh, that's Cecil and Mary. Now I know where he got it.
Give us his name, babe.
He's a bit player in pictures running Castle.
Where is he?
You're in Arizona. On location.
How could he be on location when you bought that stuff from him this morning?
Off the plane this morning. He was on his way.
Leonard Castle. Picture actor, that right?
You got it.
Run it down.
10 a.m. We checked the name Leonard Castle through R&I. We found nothing. We looked in the phone book and got the number. Garfield 3711, Central Casting.
Central Casting?
Los Angeles Police Department calling.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Leonard Castle registered with you?
One moment. Yes, we do.
Wonder if you could tell me if he's working.
Oh, just a minute. I have his card right here. Yes, he's working. He's doing crime report for Schumann and Kester, independent production. They're shooting over at Soundstages Incorporated.
They're working today?
Yes, he is.
You're sure that company's not on location?
No, we have no location showing for that picture.
Well, could you give me his call, please?
Surely. He had a 9 o'clock call today, stage 3. Did you wish to see Mr. Castle?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any trouble locating him over there.
We'll find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here is Nurse Shirley Gilman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild and has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. And that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree
it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
10:30 a.m. Central Casting gave us Leonard Castle's home address, and Detectives Long and Hunt went on immediate stakeout. Ben and I drove out to Soundstages Incorporated and checked in at the reception desk. We showed them our identification. We were issued a pass to Soundstage 3.
This is stage 1. Stage 3 ought to be down there.
Yeah.
Not very big, Laura.
No, it's pretty small. Watch the truck, Ben.
Think Kellogg knew what he's talking about?
We'll know in a couple of minutes.
Not very usual. Joy Pauper pulling a job like that.
They all start somewhere.
That's a good way to get around a movie lot. Bicycle.
Better than walking. Sure a thick fog, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't have 'em often, but when we get 'em, they're real pea-super. Oh, here we are.
You better hold it, Ben. Red light. They're shooting in there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
On stage 5, you know?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
All clear. Let's go in.
Hey, fella.
Yeah.
Wonder if you can tell us where we can find Leonard Castle?
Sure.
Rosie, call Leonard Castle, will you? Fellas want to see him.
Okay.
Leonard Castle. Leonard Castle.
Guess we can wait over here by the phone, huh?
He'll be right here. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Rosie, you call me?
These gentlemen want to see you.
Thanks, Rosie. You want to see me?
Your name, Leonard Castle?
Yeah, that's fine.
Police officer.
Yeah?
There's someplace where we can talk?
Well, this all right? I got to stick close. I might be in the next shot.
All right. You know a fellow by the name of Babe Kellogg?
No?
He says he knows you.
No, I never heard of him.
You sure?
Put this on a bell, George. Hold the work. Quiet down, quiet. Have to hold it a minute. They're lining up a shot.
Lefty, move that fruit about 1.5 feet to your right. That's it. Hold it right there. Make it a little hotter. Couple of turns. Whoa. That's good. Baxter, give me an inky nick right here. Camel left.
Harry.
Hello.
When Fred Conrad crosses over at the table, can you help me out a little?
Can you bring this one down about 2 points on the dimmer?
It's done. Don, you got that?
All ready, Miller.
Conrad?
Yes, sir.
Take it real easy. Remember, you don't know your sergeant's got a clue until he comes to you with it.
All right.
You're anticipating a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it.
Bob, watch that mic shadow. We're getting it on that wall.
Am I out now?
No, too much. You come here a little. That's fine. You're clear.
All ready?
All right, we can try one.
Turn them over.
Rolling.
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right down.
Look, I found it.
Piece of that broken window, huh?
That's right. It was plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah. We got our man.
Cut.
Let's hold it quiet, folks.
You never heard of Babe Kellogg, huh?
That's right. We were at 6 o'clock this morning, Cass.
In bed?
We got men out to your place checking.
Well, what's it all about?
Between 6 and 7 o'clock this morning, somebody robbed the pharmacy at St. Christopher's Hospital. They slugged the intern, made off with over $10,000 worth of narcotics.
Yeah? If we find you were in bed between 6 and 7, you're clear.
No, I was.
Anybody to back up that alibi?
The landlady, I guess you'd know.
What time she generally get up?
Oh, I don't know. Why?
Well, she couldn't very well back you up. She was still asleep.
Well, she's usually up early.
Thought you said you didn't know what time she got up.
Well, I mean, I don't usually know.
But you knew this morning.
No.
And you don't know Babe Kellogg.
Simmer down, everybody. Let's have it quiet.
Line them all.
What do you read on that junior, Harry?
9 plus.
Make it a little hotter.
A little harder, Jack. That's it. Move. 10 plus, Steve.
That's it.
How about it, Steve?
Anything.
Turn him over.
Rolling.
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found here.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with print.
Yeah. We got our man.
Cut. Jake, you said plastered with prints. The line reads plastered with fingerprints. You got to say the whole word. They'll never know what you mean in Vancouver. Come here, I'll talk to you.
Yeah. Hold the work. Keep it quiet.
That's Millie. He's a tough director, but he's a good one.
How long you been doing this kind of work, Castle?
Oh, 6, 7 years.
What pictures you been in?
Oh, I don't think you'd have noticed. They're mostly small parts.
What kind of parts you got in this picture?
I play a cop.
What would you like to do?
In this picture?
No, what's your ambition? You going to stay in pictures?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get a few bigger parts if I could. It's pretty tough to try and sell yourself to producer if you can't see you on film.
Money's pretty good, though, isn't it?
Oh, it all depends. It's a different deal on each picture you do.
Mm-hmm. You have an agent?
No, I did have. Wasn't doing anything for me, so I let him go on. Not represented now.
Pretty hard to build any kind of a name without an agent, isn't it?
It all depends. If you can keep up a good front, nice car, that's all that counts in this town.
You really believe that, do you?
Don't you?
Well, I don't know much about it. I'm not an actor.
You said you didn't know Babe Kellogg at all, didn't you?
No, I don't know.
You said you saw your landlady at 6 o'clock this morning.
No, I didn't say that. Well, there's Theodore Milton, the director. Would you like to meet him?
What time did you see your landlady this
Oh,
morning?
Mr. Milton.
Yeah, Castle?
When are you going to get to me, Millie? Need me in the shop?
No, still on the same thing. We'll get to you till after lunch. You can stay with your friend.
Okay.
What time is it break for lunch, Castle?
Well, this company usually breaks around 12:30.
It's only 11:15. Maybe we can go outside and talk. The director said he didn't need you.
Why, you never want to believe the director. It's always the first assistant.
We could check with him, couldn't we?
Oh, I don't like to do that. I hate to ask any favors.
Said he wasn't going to use you till after lunch.
Well, it isn't a good policy to bother the first assistant.
Well, it's probably better in here anyway. I didn't see any place to sit down outside. Unless you have a car in the lot. Do you have a car?
No, I don't.
But you told us you had a car.
No, I didn't tell you that, did I?
Well, you said something about keeping up a good front, a nice car. Isn't that what you said?
Oh, sure, I have a car. I don't know what I was thinking about. Yeah, I have a car.
Mm-hmm. I thought you said you had a car.
Well, I tell you, this picture act will drive you crazy. I don't know what I'm saying half the time.
Maybe you made a mistake about Babe Kellogg. Do you know him?
No, I'm sure about that. I don't know any Babe Carson.
Kellogg.
You're Kellogg, you know. I don't know him.
Would you mind showing us your wallet?
Well, what for? You want to see my identification?
Let me see the wallet, please.
All right. Here you go.
No, you hold it. Would you open it up?
Okay. Quiet, please. All right, Steve.
Okay.
Turn him.
Rolling.
Big. All right. Nice and easy now. Fingerprints, Jake.
Right.
Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in. Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our men.
Cut.
Same. No talking.
Let's see how much money you got in your wallet, Castle. No, you hold it. Just count it for us.
Oh, there it is. What about the rest of it in there? All right, I didn't see it.
All right, count it.
Just a few hundred here.
Count it.
All right. Let's see.
Well, I can see 450s right there on top. That's 200, isn't it?
Yeah. 300. 400. 450. Yeah, go on. I didn't know I had this much.
That's 250 more. That makes 700, doesn't it?
It's more than I thought I had.
There's 2 more 10s and a 5 there. That's $725, Castle.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well in this picture, aren't you?
It's not all picture, Mike.
All right, you can put your wallet away.
Thanks.
You didn't make this money on the picture. Where'd you get it?
Played little cards last night.
Play pretty late?
Yeah, pretty late.
Weren't you tired this morning?
No.
Not even when you got up at 6?
Did I say I got up at 6?
Now, listen, Castle. You don't know what you said, but one thing's sure, you're lying to us. You know Babe Kellogg, and you know him well enough to sell him 2 vials of high-grade morphine.
Oh, you're wrong about that.
All right, then you set us straight. Kellogg says he paid you $700 for this stuff. You got over $700 in your wallet. That's more than you need for lunch money. Now, this could be a coincidence. You set us straight.
Well, you're wrong.
Where'd you get the money?
Turn him. Rolling?
Okay. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Lieutenant.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our men.
Cut.
All right, what's more?
Where'd you get the money, Castle?
I told you I played cards.
It won't do. Got the keys to your car?
I can't leave.
We'll get you excused. We want to look at your car.
No, don't do that.
All right, then. Do you know Babe Kellogg?
I don't know.
Turn him. Rolling?
Hey. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut. Bring it. Hold it for Lily.
Do you know Babe Kellogg?
Yes. Yes, I know him. I know it.
You robbed that hospital this morning.
I needed it. I needed the money. I had to have it. I owed money. They were going to take my car. I was broke. What else could I do? I was sick once. I stayed at St. Christopher's. I knew where they kept the drugs. I knew if I could get them, I could make some fast money. I didn't mean to hit the kid. I couldn't let him see me. He didn't have to be there, did he? He didn't have to be there. I sold old Babe the stuff, and the rest is in the car under the seat. I needed the money. I was broke. I was broke.
Better get him out of here, Ben.
Come on, Castle.
That was a great reading. My name's Milton. I'm directing this picture. You the boy's agent?
No, sir.
Never heard him read better. Funny thing, though.
Yeah?
In front of the camera, he goes to the dogs.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in reaching the solution of a crime depends on the combined efforts of many minds and many hands. The crime lab, state and federal peace officers, and you, the citizen. And so with Fatima. The combined efforts of many go into their blending and manufacture. Skilled hands, working with the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, make Fatima extra mild, best of all long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, try Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Ladies and gentlemen, starting Thursday, August 24th, that's 2 weeks from tonight, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
Leonard Francis Castle was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and violating the State Narcotics Act. He received sentences as prescribed by law. Alfred Babe Kellogg was convicted of violating the State Narcotics Act. Both men are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper. Next on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. A vicious case of wanton and willful destruction of private property occurs in your city. Suspicion points to a juvenile. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 10th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Bowling. My name's Friday. It was 9:35 a.m. when we got to 1335 Georgia Street, captain's office.
I'll ask you to sit down. We're not going to be here that long.
You sound mad.
Get your hat.
Right way.
Which car?
Right out front.
All right.
What's up?
A rotten mess.
We got in the car and drove south in Figueroa till we got to West 103rd Street. According to Inspector Bowling's directions, we turned right and went about 4 miles. He directed us to pull up in front of a one-story frame residence that had been converted into small business offices. On the right side, going in, was a neighborhood jeweler's shop. We could see him working in the window. Over the door of the office on the left was a lawyer's shingle. The gold lettering was new.
This way.
Lawyer's office.
That's right. Name's Paul Wilson. Me, Miss Wilson.
Oh, come in, Inspector Bowling.
Mr. Wilson, this is Sergeant Friday. Romero, Juvenile Detail. I'm assigning him this case.
Hey, just Sergeant.
All right.
Sergeant.
All right, look at it. Just look at it.
Look at that, Joe. Yeah, paint. All over everything. Look at that leather chair, it's ruined. The desk, smeared with the stuff. Green paint. Yeah. Looks like they threw it on the mop and rug soaked with it, the walls. Look, Joe, they even got the clock. Yeah.
Take a good look. Remember it when you tag whoever did it.
These your law books, Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
We didn't have to do this. Poured paint all over them.
Yes, sir.
When did all this happen?
Sometime last night. Found it this way when I came in this morning.
Any idea who did it?
That's why he called us, and we're going to find out.
I don't know who'd want to do a thing like this. Just opened my office 3 days ago. Just hung out my shingle.
You just started practicing law, then?
Yes, sir. Graduated from Loyola University Extension Division.
Been looking for office space for a long time.
Was anything taken?
No. It's such a dirty, rotten thing to pull. Undoubtedly a kid.
That's pretty vicious for a kid. Can you think of any enemies that you might have had, Miss Wilson?
No, sir. No one would do a thing like this. Can't understand it. There's no reason for it that I can think of.
Crime report shows they got in the back door. Is that right, Mr. Wilson?
Well, can you come back here? I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is right here. See, this used to be the kitchen when this was a flat. I was going to put a hot plate in here for coffee.
All right.
You can see where they cut through the screen door.
It's all right. It's been checked.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm. Any passkey would fit the inside door here.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You can follow the trail of that green paint right from this door all the way through the house.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll ever get it all off. You know of any cleaners that handle things like this?
We're not allowed to recommend anybody, Mr. Wilson. If you have somebody in mind, we'd be happy to call them for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I was going to make some calls, but I haven't got my phone installed yet.
Estimated damage about $1,800, is that right?
That's what I figure, yes. My law books are over $600 alone. Borrowed the money from the bank for the furniture.
You haven't noticed any kids in the neighborhood, none of them around while you were moving in?
No, I didn't see any. I moved everything in myself, rented a trailer, made several trips to get it all over here. Guess that was a silly thing to do.
Why?
Well, the store where I bought the furniture said they'd deliver it, but I couldn't wait to see everything in. First office, you know.
Yeah, we understand.
Well, like I said, I made several trips with the trailer, and I didn't lock the office each time I left. Didn't figure it was necessary. The fellow across the hall with Bueller said he'd keep an eye on things for me.
But you did lock up last night, didn't you?
Oh, yes. As soon as I was moved in, I locked the place at all times when I wasn't here.
That's it.
We'll get right on it.
I don't have to tell you again. I want a fast answer.
Where do we start?
With an empty paint can.
Before we left Attorney Paul Wilson, we took a sample scraping of the green paint to serve as a color check. We started to canvass the neighborhood door to door. We covered the area for a radius of 6 blocks, questioning the residents and checking out the youngsters. We failed to come up with anything. We figured another good angle was to try the schools in the area. We checked on the students who had been in any kind of trouble involving malicious pranks. We had the principals line their students up. We looked them all over thoroughly for any evidences of paint of any kind on their person or on their clothing. The few leads we found led nowhere. After a week without success, we went back and rechecked the neighborhood, the paint stores, to see if anyone had bought any green paint, anyone they might have forgotten to tell us about the first time through. No leads. Monday, April 18th, Ben and I stopped for a Coke at a hot dog stand on the corner of 103rd and Oakview Avenue. A couple of Cokes, please.
You want to help yourself, then?
Yeah, okay. Here's one. I don't see any more. There's one lying on the side. No, over there by the grate. Oh, yeah. Let me get it for you. Oh, thanks. There you are. Good. Every time I think of that boy's office, it makes me sick. Well, if we could just get some kind of a lead. Anything for a start. Pardon me. I'd be satisfied. There's nothing to work on. It's like stabbing in the dark. Joe. Yeah? Look down the street there. Hmm? This is Tin Can Day. Everybody's got them set out in front of the houses. It's worth a try, isn't it? Let's try a place across the street and then work down the block. All right? Come on. I had a cousin move down from San Francisco. It took him almost a year to get used to this tin can system here in L.A. Is that so? Yeah, up there they throw everything into one garbage can. Tin cans, no. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, sure. Tabs, my cousin, never could get used to putting the cans out. His backyard was full of them before his wife reminded him to put them out. Yeah. Garbage kind of piled up, too. They wouldn't pick it up with the tin cans in it. You want to check these here? All right. Okay. Don't see any paint cans. No, none here either. How about those down there? Okay. Let's go. I'll get this box. I wonder if this is any good. What's that? Prune juice. See a lot of empty bottles. Any paint cans? No. That's so. That's the way it went. Block after block, house after house. We covered 5 blocks, checking the containers full of empty tin cans. Found a few paint cans, none of them the right color, or any combinations that would go together to make the right color. It was a tiring job, but we figured it was at least a place to start.
Sure a lot of cans here. There must be a new bride, huh?
No. You find anything?
No, not yet.
How about this?
Huh?
This one.
1 gallon can. Green.
What's that?
Yes?
Police officers, ma'am. This empty paint can belong to you.
You can have it if you want. We'll throw it out.
Do you have any children here, ma'am?
Yes, a boy.
How old is he?
1 year.
Would you mind telling us what this paint was used for?
We just moved here. Is there any law about throwing out paint cans?
Oh, no, ma'am. We're investigating the case. Just like to know what the paint was used for.
Did old man Boone send you over?
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Boone, the man we rented this house from?
No, ma'am.
I thought maybe it was him. He said we couldn't do any painting inside.
We don't know anything about that.
You sure? I don't trust him.
No, ma'am. You say the paint was used to redecorate?
Yes, come in, I'll show you.
Oh, thank you.
In here. See?
Yeah.
Carlos did. My husband. I told him he should have waited till Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to paint the bathtub?
Carlos. He's going to night school learning English. The teacher told him the best way to learn was to speak it around the house.
Yes.
Better for the little one, too. Well, anyway, Carlos gets paid on Saturday night, then he stops at the little place where the fellas he works with and has a little drink. He gets his paycheck cash there.
Mm-hmm.
When he came home, he said he was going to paint the bathroom for me. This is all a little dirt. I was in the kitchen and I yelled to him to paint around the top. Around the top, I said.
Yeah.
Like I said, he doesn't know English too good yet. We have a green tub.
I see. Well, thank you.
He's going to clean the tub next Saturday. We use the shower.
Painted that, too, didn't he?
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. We're sorry to have disturbed you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm worried about next Saturday night.
Why's that?
There's no telling what he's going to do with that paint remover.
$4:30 p.m. We were no closer to finding out who spread that paint around the attorney's office than when we started. We continued checking the neighborhood, but we found nothing. A few minutes before 5, we got a call to check back in with Inspector Bowling.
You do any good out there?
Nothing at all.
No, we had a little action, a new one.
You know, what's that?
Came in about an hour ago. Somebody poured kerosene on 3 palm trees and set them on fire. 3 trees, 3 different blocks.
Yeah?
Kept the fire department busy. Tied up the traffic for several hours. I've sent additional juvenile cars out there to cover happening in the same general area as the paint job.
Any leads?
Now, anyone who will smear paint over an office might set a palm tree on fire. Same type of gag, malicious mischief.
Think there's a connection between the two?
Well, it's anybody's guess. Paint routine's new one, so it's palm trees. They're both one-time only shots. Maybe the two connect somewhere along the line.
Yeah, maybe. Well, it's got us stopped. We can't even find a place to begin.
We've tried everything we know. Starting again tomorrow.
It isn't going to make that young lawyer feel any better. Yep. Who? You take him down to the detention room? He does, huh? All right, I'll see him. Yeah, right now. 16-year-old boy out there says he's got to see me.
Would you like to talk to him alone?
No, that's all right. You stay. Come in.
You're the chief?
My name is Bowling, Juvenile Bureau, yeah.
Could I talk to you alone?
Well, these officers work with me. Can you talk in front of them, son?
I guess so.
Well, come on over here. You want to sit down, son?
I'd rather stand if it's okay.
All right, what's on your mind?
I want to confess.
What do you want to confess, son?
I murdered somebody.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here is Nurse Shirley Gilman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild, has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima, and that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
6 p.m. Monday, April 18th. The boy identified himself as Arnold Waterman. He gave his age as 16. He told us that 2 days before at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue, he'd shot a man to death and hidden his body in the basement of a house. He was taken to the interrogation room where a police stenographer took his statement. Inspector Bowling sent Ben and I out to check his story. 9:30 p.m. We drove back to Georgia Street Juvenile and went to the interrogation room.
Arnold?
Yes, sir?
Well, these two men have been out at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue checking your story.
Did you find the body?
No, there's no body out there.
There should be. I put it in the cellar.
There's no house out there. It's a vacant lot. We checked all the houses near there. You sure you killed somebody?
Of course I'm sure. I stole the gun. I shot him 3 times in the back.
What'd you do with the gun?
I threw it in Westlake Park.
Where?
In the water. I rented a boat and rowed out to the middle. That's where I threw it in.
Why did you kill the man?
I don't know. I didn't like him.
Now, look, boy, you didn't kill anybody. There's nothing to back up your story. There's not an ounce of truth in it.
How do you know you haven't found the body? Just wait. You'll find him, then you'll see. I killed him, all right.
Will you show us where you hid the body?
Why should I? I told you you'll find it.
These men have gone over that entire area thoroughly. There's nobody out there, and you know it.
You cops are funny. When somebody won't admit a murder, you keep asking questions until they do. I'm telling you I murdered somebody, and you keep trying to talk me out of it.
If we can find one shred of proof, we might go along with you. You can't be convicted without proof.
How much do you need? You got my confession. I offered to sign it. They wouldn't let me. What more do you need?
We need a victim, Arnold.
If you knew where to look, you could find it.
We've looked every place you told us to. You're lying to us, huh? Why?
I never liked the old man. I hated his wife. I killed her, too. I wasn't going to tell you that.
Where do you go to school?
I quit school to sell papers. I had to support my mother.
Where's your father?
I don't know. My mother wouldn't tell me. That's where I met the old man I killed, selling papers. He was my boss. None of us liked him. Nobody had the nerve to do it but me. The rest of the guys were scared, but not me.
What was the old man's name?
I can't think of it right now.
He was your boss.
He never told us his name. We just worked for him.
Where'd you sell papers?
I don't remember. I had to sell papers. We were going hungry. I couldn't stand to see my mother starve.
Didn't your father work?
I don't know where he is. I told you that. We tried to get on relief. They wouldn't let us. I made a lot of money selling papers. After a while, we didn't need relief anymore. I made $100 a week.
Why are you lying to us, son?
If you think I'm lying, why don't you let me go home?
We haven't anything to hold you for. You can go home.
Not until I have a trial. I already called a lawyer. He'll be over pretty soon.
I've sent for your mother, Arnold. She'll come down and take you home.
I didn't want her to know anything about this. I may have to go to the gas chamber. It would make her feel bad. You shouldn't have called her.
It's no use.
Let's go back to the office. His mother ought to be there by now.
All right.
Romero, you want to stay with the boy?
All right.
You better go out and find that body.
Come on, Joe.
I killed that old man. You can't say I didn't.
The boy's a pathological liar.
Well, it looks that way. Probably an inferiority complex.
This is the way of making himself important.
Well, we all know he didn't kill anybody, but I wonder if he's got something else in his mind, huh?
How do you do? You're Mrs. Waterman?
Yes. Inspector Bowling?
Yes, ma'am. This is Sergeant Friday.
How do you do, ma'am?
How do you do? I have to excuse my appearance. I slept a little late today.
We've got your boy down the hall. He's all right. Trying to get us to swallow a few tall stories.
Yeah, he's like that. What did he tell you?
He tried to give us a story about killing somebody.
Well, I'm not surprised. This isn't the first time. I'll never understand that kid.
Has your boy ever been in an institution, Mrs. Waterman?
No, he's not bad. He just likes to lie all the time. He's an awful liar. Went to his high school principal the other day, told him his father and I beat him. We wouldn't give him any lunch money.
Where is your husband?
He has a newspaper concession on one of the railroad trains.
How often is he home?
Once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. It's the only business he knows.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe that's the reason the kid's the way he is. My mom always used to tell me a kid needs his father. So whenever my hubby's home, he always does the right thing. I almost started telling me these lies a long time ago. And ever since when his father found out, he catches it.
What do you mean?
Good strapping. That's all a kid like him understands. Father knows how to handle him. Whenever he lies, he takes the strap to him.
You think that's the best way to handle it?
Don't you?
Well, you know what you're doing, Mrs. Waterman. He's your son. But if you wouldn't mind a little advice, do you mind my telling you?
No, not at all.
Well, that boy needs care, and he needs it bad. The strap's not the answer. He needs attention, good supervision, and a lot of companionship. I'm not conducting a class in child psychology, but care for that boy of yours. Care for him before the state has to.
It's just those stories he hears. That's what's wrong with him. Came home the other night with the wildest tale I ever heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Said he threw green paint all over somebody's office.
Ben and I drove out to the Waterman home. We checked through the boy's belongings. His mother showed us his room. In his closet, we found a pair of corduroy trousers, a white T-shirt, and other articles of his clothing spattered with the same shade of green paint that had been found in the office and furnishings of Attorney Paul Wilson. We asked Ms. Waterman where her son Arnold was on Sunday night, April 9th, the night that the office had been broken into and smeared with paint. She told us she didn't know, but that he came home that night with paint on his clothing. Ben and I went back to the office where we filed an application for a petition and detention, Section 700, sub M, WIC, malicious mischief, 1 count. 2 days later, in juvenile court, the calendar was called. Arnold Waterman's name was first on the list. The judge, the subject, and all those concerned in the case retired to the judge's private chambers. Ben and I, Arnold Waterman, and his mother. The subject was informed of his constitutional rights, and Judge Frank J. Smith read the findings of our investigation.
Arnold, it alleges in this petition that on April 9th at approximately 8:30 p.m. you entered the office of Attorney Paul Wilson at 9218 West 103rd Street, where you willfully and without Mr. Wilson's permission did maliciously damage his office to the extent of approximately $1,800 by pouring paint over his rugs, furniture, books, and other articles in his offices. Is this true, Arnold?
Yes, sir.
Did you know Mr. Wilson?
No.
Arnold, I'd like to know why you did that.
I felt like it.
You'll have to give me a better answer than that, youngster.
That's the best I can do. That's good enough, isn't it?
No, it isn't good enough. We have a courtroom full of boys outside who probably want to be helped, and we're going to try to help them. We can't help you unless you want to be helped.
You don't want to help me. You don't believe anything I tell you.
Officer Friday.
Yes, Your Honor.
You and Officer Romero investigated this case from its inception.
We did.
As a result of your investigation, what's your opinion of this boy's truthfulness?
Well, Your Honor, I think I can speak for Officer Romero here as well. In all our talks with the boy and our observations of him, it's our opinion, for what it's worth, that the boy's a pathological liar. Basically, he seems to have the makings of a good youngster. His environment's bad. Seems to have very little, if any, parental guidance. Tells lies, Your Honor. Lots of them.
That seems to be everyone's opinion.
It's not mine. If you'd spend more time trying to find out if I'm lying instead of trying to put me on the spot, you'd earn your money.
Your stories have been thoroughly investigated and double-checked by competent police officers. There is absolutely no basis of truth in anything you've said.
I'm getting sick and tired of everybody calling me a liar. Do you hear me?
Young man, sit down in that chair. We review a great many juvenile cases here in my private chambers, but that does not alter the fact that you are in the court of law. You will lower your voice, speak in a gentlemanly fashion, and tell the truth. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Waterman, could you give this court any reason for your son's behavior?
It's a mystery to me, Judge. Fred, that's his father. He can't understand it either. He's always lied. Father beats him for it, and I guess he'll always lie.
That's all you can say in your son's behalf?
What else is there to say? He's a liar.
Arnold, I'm going to ask you once more. Why did you smear paint all over Attorney Paul Wilson's office?
I didn't like him.
Why didn't you like him?
I didn't like him, that's all. Tall, skinny, looking guy.
You mean you destroyed his property because you didn't like his looks?
Something like that. He was cheap. I saw him moving in. He had a trailer. He was moving his own stuff in. Why didn't he hire a mover like everybody else? I don't like cheap people.
You know anything about this man, Wilson?
No. Why?
What business was it of yours, whether or not Mr. Wilson decided to move his own furniture? Do you know that he's a young man, not much older than you, just graduated from law school, took a lot of time, took a lot of his money that he earned to put himself through school, and you sit there, a mere sketch of a boy passing judgment on a fine young man like Paul Wilson. And boy, let me tell you something. I don't know if you're a God-fearing lad or not, but you'd better fall on your knees and ask forgiveness and hope that somebody hears you, that he hasn't lost patience with you. You better raise up those sights of yours, lad, and pray for forgiveness. I hope those tears mean something now. Now, do you have anything to say before I pass judgment on this case?
Yes, sir, I have. I'd like to tell you about something else I did. There were some palm trees out there. I put kerosene on them and set them on fire.
Last Friday. Would you know anything about this?
Yes, Your Honor. That checks with the report.
Any property damage?
No, Your Honor. Kept the fire department pretty busy, that's about all.
I didn't kill anybody. I just made that up.
Yes, we know, Uncle. Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Watson?
No. I don't know what else you can do with a kid. I'm glad it's somebody else's trouble.
According to the findings of the probationary officers and the investigating officers and what I've heard and observed in these chambers, I have no alternative but to remove this boy from his present home and environment and place him in a foster home where he will receive closer supervision and the care that he requires. Does that meet with your approval, Mrs. Longman?
It's fine with me, Judge. Fred and I can hardly make ends meet now, and it's a shame to waste what money we have on this kid. It's all I can do to squeeze out the new clothes I need.
Then you approve this plan?
I can't wait to tell Fred.
Well, when you tell Fred, you can also tell him the taxpayers are not going to assume the burden of the mistakes that you and your husband lavished on this boy.
What do you mean, Judge?
The expense of placing the boy in this foster home comes to the amount of $35 a month. You and your husband will pay this sum. The law covers that.
It's an awful lot of money.
The payment will be due on the first day of each month. You will meet this requirement or be held in contempt of court. I'm only sorry that's as far as the law goes. The laws of the state of California do not make the parents responsible for the torts of their children unless contributory negligence can be proven. In my eyes, it is contributory negligence on your part, but unfortunately it cannot be proven. Any faults that this boy may have are yours. You as a parent are responsible.
We did the best we could in raising the kid.
Madam, you didn't raise him. Hearing dismissed.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 18th, the hearing was held in the private chambers of Judge Frank J. Smith, Juvenile Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. You have just heard the results of that hearing.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in the process of apprehending criminals devotes his full time and energy to the job. His alertness, intelligence, and a great amount of patience. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima cigarettes employ these same qualities in blending the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, then buy Fatima. You'll find, as I have, that every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Now hear Sarah's Private Caper. September 7th, it's Father Knows Best on NBC.
The origins of Dragnet can be traced to a semi-documentary film, He Walked by Night, in 1948, in which Jack Webb had a small role. Both employed the same Los Angeles Police Department technical advisor. They used actual police cases and presented the case in a just-the-facts manner that became the hallmark of Dragnet. It's interesting to note that Jack Webb employed that format in other radio series, some predating the film mentioned above. And now, more Dragnet on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You answer an early morning call. A police officer on patrol duty disappears. Any attempt to contact him by car radio fails. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, June 4th. It was sultry in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Chief Detective Thad Brown. My name's Friday. It was 6:45 a.m. when we got to the Imperial Highway. San Pedro cutoff.
Hi. Friday and Romero?
Yeah, that's right.
Pete Sutton, Sheriff's Department.
How are you?
Hello.
We got here as soon as we could.
Inspector Bowers fill you in?
Yeah, Ed Baxter in Central Homicide told us to check with Bowers at the sheriff's office. Bowers directed us to come out here and lend you a hand.
This thing happens so close to the county line, they figure both departments ought to go to work on it.
Sure, glad to have you. Looks like a tough one.
Was this the highway patrol car the missing officer was assigned to?
Yeah. This is just the way we found it. We turned off the ignition. Motor was running, lights were on. It's been idling quite a while. The temperature was up pretty high.
When'd you find it this way?
45 minutes ago. Missing patrolman's name is Eugene Brewer. State Highway Patrol called the Sheriff's Department a little before 6 a.m. Told us the missing officer wasn't acknowledging his radio call. I talked to Mark Benson.
Is the radio all right?
We checked it. In fact, it was operating normal when we found the car. Mike was out of the bracket, laying on the seat there.
Well, any ideas?
No signs of struggle. No blood stains.
This asphalt here.
No footprints anywhere. Nothing on the shoulder of the road.
You said the car was running?
That's right.
That eliminates any engine trouble.
Yeah. No, there's more to it than that. Gotta be.
Nobody has any idea why or when he left his car.
You've got it all. You know as much as we do.
What was the check on Brewer?
Mark Benson says he's one of their top men. Been with Highway Patrol for 8 years. Good record all the way.
Have you talked to anybody around here?
Pretty remote spot out here. A lot of truck gardens. That's about all. My partner, Dave Terry, turned up one man. Maybe he's got something. That's him over by our car.
Hey, Dave, would you send him over here, please?
Who is the fellow?
One of the farmers. Works at truck garden out here. Name's Henry Taniguchi.
Lieutenant Sutton?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taniguchi, this is Sergeant Friday in Romero.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
I know you filled my partner in, but would you mind going over it again for us?
All right. I can tell you very little. You know, we start work early in the garden.
Yes, sir.
Conrad, the fellow I work with, Conrad Ishikawa, we started in the string beans about 5 o'clock this morning. Bean patch near Imperial Highway.
Yeah.
We noticed a headlight stop off the side of the road. This happened all the time along the highway, but this stayed very long.
Mm-hmm. About what time did you notice this, Mr. Taniguchi?
Must have been 10 minutes past 5. I remember asked Charlie Fujikuni, our cultivator man, what time was.
I see. Did you see or hear anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, no, sir. We wait a while, and headlight do not move. Conrad and I decided maybe somebody was in trouble. This highway quite deserted early morning hour.
What'd you do then?
We walked up to see what was wrong. When we get close, we could see a state highway car, so we know everything all right.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the officer in the car?
Oh, no. Door was open on the other side. We thought maybe officer investigate something down in the brush.
Did you see him down there?
Oh, no. We just think he was check up something. so we go back to work.
You saw nothing out of the ordinary, nothing unusual.
No, we don't. We hear the radio play. We know everything okay.
That checks out. The radio was functioning when we got here.
Mm-hmm. You didn't notice any other cars around anywhere, did you?
Oh, no, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taniguchi. Here's my card. Appreciate it. If you think of anything else, please let us know.
Oh, yes, I will. What happened to Officer in this car?
We don't know.
Oh, he's all right. Probably look for somebody.
Well, that makes us even. We're looking for him. Monday, June 4th, 8 a.m. According to our instructions, we headed back to the Hall of Justice to check in with Inspector Gordon Bowers and Captain Garner Brown of the Sheriff's Department. They were coordinating the search for the missing highway patrolman, Eugene Brewer. Inspector Ed Backstrand, Central Homicide, was helping out. To the peace officer, cooperation with all branches of the various law enforcement agencies is essential. Each man on the force knows the value of a coordinated effort. He knows that without the aid of the many divisions of law enforcing bodies in his city and county, the task of maintaining law and order would be a total failure. The local officer depends on the men in the federal, state, and county departments as they depend on him. Without this coordination, no one department could survive. 8:25 a.m., we met with Inspector Bowers and Ed Backstrand in the sheriff's office.
Nothing, huh? Nobody saw him.
If somebody did, we haven't found him, Inspector Bauer.
We both figured the only thing to do was to ask for cooperation of the newspapers. We got it.
Pretty good layout, huh?
There's stories in every morning edition in town. They're running a picture and full description of the missing patrolman.
Well, we talked to everybody we could find in the general area out there. We worked 2 hours at it. The spot where the patrol car was found is pretty remote. A couple of gas stations, some vegetable gardens.
We told you about the Taniguchi fellow. Checked all his friends that worked with him. They couldn't add anything.
Maybe the newspapers will turn up something. I sent a special detail out there to fan out and search the entire area, 5 square miles.
Yeah, it'll take time. There's nothing else we can do.
No, there's nothing more we can do. Nothing anybody can do until we can show them the patrol cars how to carry 2 men.
Nobody seems to be able to do anything about it.
Well, maybe they will now. Sending one officer out in a patrol car is like trying to run a trolley line with one man. How many cases can you remember in our department? Ed Dudman pulled the car over in Dogtown at 3 o'clock one morning.
I remember.
Driver turned out to be a guy with a record. Dudman couldn't know that. While he was making out the traffic ticket, the guy shot him down in the street. Dudman died before he could get help.
Yeah, we do a lot of griping in the detective division, but those men in the patrol cars and the motorcycle boys, they get the dirty end of the deal for sure.
You bet they do. When a detective is sent out on a job, he knows who he's after, what he looks like, what he can expect when he finds him. The boys in the patrol cars answer a call, a 390, a 415, a 507. Sure, we know what they're supposed to be, but how often do they turn out that way? Prowler, a peeping Tom? How many times do they have a gun in their pocket? How many cops do they kill every year?
We've all been through it. We know what it is.
Yeah, but how often do we think about it when we're griping on stakeouts? Let me tell you something. This goes for me as well as you. Let's not forget who the real cream of the force is, the backbone of any police department. Men on wheels.
No question there, Skipper.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make a speech, but when something like this happens, it gets to me. The riding on short odds as it is. There ought to be 2 men in every patrol car.
Well, it should have been somebody else with Brewer. The guy on the job just doesn't disappear without a trace.
It's just what he's done. We've checked everywhere, everything. Excuse me. Powers. Who? Yeah, send him right in. This might help. Truck driver by the name of Matt Wolf. Says he's got something for us. Come in. Mr. Wolf?
Yes, sir.
Come in. Mr. Wolf, Inspector Backstrand, Sergeant Friday, and Romero.
How do you do?
All right. I saw the story in this morning's Times. I don't know if what I got's worth anything, but I figured I'd better pass it along to you guys.
Something on the missing highway patrolman?
Well, I don't know. The reason I'm here, maybe it's just a coincidence, but I gave a fella a hand earlier this morning out on the Imperial Highway, not far from where the paper here says an empty patrol car was found.
About what time was that, Mr. Wolf?
All around 4:30 this morning.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah. I'm an independent trucker. I haul topsoil for different nurseries. Stuff out there in Imperial's good rich stuff. We dig it right out the side of the hill.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just loaded up, and as on my way back to town, this fella flags me down. Said he'd had a flat, pulled out on the shoulder of the road to fix it. Said he didn't know it was sand. After he'd fixed the flat, he found out he stuck. He couldn't get his car.
You gave him a hand, huh?
No, not with the flat. He already had that fixed, but I towed him out. That's how I became suspicious of this fella.
How do you mean?
Well, I offered to get out and hook up the tow chain. He said, no, just stay in a cab. I figured if he could do it alone, it was all right with me. Well, I pulled him out. But here's the funny part.
Yes, sir?
The chain got a kink in it from the weight of the pull.
It's no mean job to handle that alone, but he says, well, he'll do it himself. It seemed to me like he didn't want me to get a good look at him or his car. I could be wrong, but, well, that's the way it struck me.
Did you notice anything?
Yes, I did. For one thing, I got a look at him when I threw on my backup lights and his card. That's a real funny one.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a fairly new car. I'd say no older than last year's model, Plymouth. Well, at the risk of sounding completely nuts, I'm going to tell you that car looked like it had just been painted.
There's nothing wrong in that, is there?
Well, there is if you're off on the side of the road that time of the morning throwing cheap black paint all over a fairly new car. If he's using a spray gun, I could understand part of it.
What's that?
It was his license plate. Front one. It was all painted over. You couldn't read any of the numbers.
Mm-hmm. What led you to believe he just finished painting his car?
All his hands and arms and all of his clothes.
Oh, I see.
That kind of paint you put on the ride. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Was it worth bothering you guys about?
You bet it was, Mr. Wolf. I can't tell you just what it means now. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but certainly it's out of the ordinary and worth reporting to the police.
Well, I hope so. I'd like to see you boys find that missing officer. Something's pretty rotten in Denmark about that one, huh?
Maybe we found a hole.
Maybe.
Friday, I'd like to have you and Romero help out in the next step.
What's that?
Throw up a roadblock.
10:30 a.m. Before we left the sheriff's office, the truck driver, Nat Wolf, gave Inspector Bowers a description of the man in the Plymouth sedan. Together with Lieutenant Pete Sutton and Dave Terry, we drove to the Imperial Highway. Nat Wolf showed us the spot beside the road where he towed the man. The area was checked and sample scrapings of the black paint were taken. There was no chance of taking a tire impression because of the loose sand in the area. All physical evidence was taken to the crime lab for analysis. Nat Wolf returned to the office to check through mug books for possible identification of the man he helped out. Meantime, a special detail of men continued to search the area where the missing patrolman had disappeared. 3 a.m. According to instructions, a roadblock was established at the spot where the abandoned patrol car had been found. Imperial Highway, San Pedro cutoff.
Police business?
Yes,
Wonder if you could help us out.
certainly.
You travel this highway every night, ma'am?
Yes, I do. I'm in the vegetable business.
Did you come this way last night about this time?
I run pretty much on schedule. Yes, I did.
Did you notice anything unusual along the highway?
I bet I know what this is about. That missing highway patrolman.
Yes, ma'am. We're stopping everybody to see if they can give us any information that might help us out.
Oh, I wish I could, but I didn't see a thing. That poor fellow. Do you think you'll find him?
We're trying awful hard.
Sorry, I can't help you. Can I go now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
How'd you do?
Nothing.
What time you got, Joe?
Almost 4.
Got a little more hot coffee in that jug. You want some?
It's fine with me, you know.
Here we are. Watch your fingers. It's hot.
Yeah.
Good.
I'll take this one. I'm going to put my coffee on the fender here. Don't knock it off, huh?
How was it?
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute, fella.
Can you see my light?
I haven't even got a cigarette.
I mean my flashlight.
I got a cigarette lighter if that'll do you any good.
You've been drinking, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I never get drunk, but I've had a little drink.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to pull over to the side of the road.
Oh, okay. What happened to my car? It's broke.
You better let me do it, huh? You want to slide over a little bit there?
I never pick up hitchhikers.
No, I'm just going to move your car off the side of the highway there.
Any trouble, Joe?
No. 502. We'll have to hold him a while.
Well, tell your friend to get in, too. It's a sedan.
We're not going far.
Where are we going?
Right here.
Is this the road to Pismo Beach?
No, sir, not this one.
Well, that dirty little Ernie, he lied again. He hates clams.
What's that?
I've been trying for 5 months to get to Pismo Beach for a bowl of clam chowder. I haven't made it yet.
All right, you just sit here a while and sober up, will you? I'm going to hold on to your keys. I'll give them back to you. You haven't got a bottle in the car, have you?
No, I never drink and drive. Alcohol and gasoline do not mix.
Yeah. You drive this road every night?
Every night. Ernie keeps telling me to take me to Pismo Beach. I love crimes.
You just sit here and sober up. Happy drunk? Yeah, he's too drunk to drive. Yeah, getting along towards daylight. Where'd I put my coffee?
Oh, I put it over here, Joe. Afraid we knocked it off.
Oh, thanks.
This one's mine.
Dave. You seem to come in bunches. You get 2 or 3 and then you wait for an hour. You know, they don't use this highway much since they put through that alternate, you know.
Police business. Yes, sir? Do you travel this highway every night about this time?
Once in a while. Haven't been over this way in a week.
You didn't drive this way last night?
No, sir, I didn't. Anything the matter?
Routine check. Thank you very much. You can go on. Nothing.
Well, looks like a hopeless job, doesn't it? Business is picking up. Here comes another one. Looks like one of your sheriff's cars, Pete.
Yeah. Reynolds, homicide. Pete Sutton? Yeah, Reynolds.
You can pack up. They found him.
Is he all right? 2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madsen. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
5 a.m. Tuesday. The body of Highway Patrolman Eugene Brewer was found half buried in a shallow grave approximately 4.5 miles from the point where his car had been found standing on the highway. The scene was roped off, photographed, measurements were taken, and the area carefully gone over for any physical evidence. A few scattered residents were again checked and asked if they'd heard gunshots. Since the nearest dwelling to the place where the body was found was 2 miles, there was a possibility that they could have not heard the shots. No one could give us any further information. The coroner's autopsy showed that Patrolman Brewer had been shot 3 times in the chest, 1 bullet directly entering his heart. He'd also been shot twice through the base of the skull. 1 p.m. Wednesday.
I get it.
Homicide, Friday.
Pete Sutton, Joe.
Yeah.
Just had a call from our Hollywood substation. Woman reported her car stolen on Sunday night. Thought the guy was going to bring it back. That's why she didn't report it sooner.
And what about it, Pete?
Plymouth sedan, last year's model. Same type the truck driver told us about.
Sounds good.
We already have a broadcast out on it. We're putting out an APB now. You want to check and see if they got it on tonight's hot sheet?
Right. Anything on the guy who stole the car?
Boyfriend of the woman who owned it. He left her in a restaurant and got away with her car. You remember the description of the guy the truck driver helped out Monday morning?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that stole this woman's car? It's the same.
Yeah.
Still doesn't prove he had anything to do with it.
Doesn't prove he didn't. Together with Pete Sutton and Dave Terry from the sheriff's office, we drove out and interviewed the woman whose car had been stolen. She told us that the man who had taken her car had also been seen in the company of one of her girlfriends, a Miss Helen Farrell, who worked as a cashier at a Hollywood theater. The Farrell girl identified the man as Mike Lapino, and she gave us a snapshot of him. She also gave us his last known address. We had no actual tie-in between the theft of the woman's car and the murder of Patrolman Eugene Brewer, but the circumstantial evidence made it at least worth checking out. The only car known to have been in the vicinity the morning of the murder was the car the truck driver, Nat Wolf, had reported. The same make and model car had been stolen the night before the killing. The general descriptions of the man from 2 different people tallied closely. We figured before we'd pass this lead by, we'd check it out all the way. 4 p.m. Wednesday. We met with Inspector Bowers at the sheriff's office.
We checked this Lapino's apartment, found a shirt and a pair of pants. Black paint on both of them.
I sent for that truck driver, Nat Wolf, to identify this picture here. You find anything else you found?
Well, this address book, there's no local places in it. They're all Las Vegas, Nevada addresses.
That's it, huh?
Yeah. What'd you get from the record bureau on the guy?
The I Bureau pulled the package on him. There's his number sheet.
Thank you. Mike Lapino. Spent some time at San Quentin. Armed robbery, grand theft auto, assault. Pretty good record.
We're still not positive he had anything to do with the Brewer killing, but he's had the training for it. Yeah? Send him right in. Matt Wolf. Come in, Mr. Wolf.
Thanks. A dirty shame about that boy. I read about it in the paper.
Yeah. Got a photograph we'd like you to look at, Mr. Wolf.
You bet. Yeah, that's the man.
You're sure?
Sure. No mistake. Hey, why do you suppose he was painting that car at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Maybe that's what that patrolman wanted to know.
We waited for an answer on the APB. 2 days passed. Saturday, June 9th. Received a phone call from the Las Vegas, Nevada Police Department. The stolen black sedan had been found in the downtown area of Las Vegas. We requested them to put a stake out on the sedan and asked them not to disturb either the car or its contents. Together with Pete Sutton from the Sheriff's Office, Mark Benson from the Highway Patrol, and Ray Pinker of our crime lab, we flew to Las Vegas. Pinker checked the stolen car. Embedded in the rear seat were 2 spent bullets. There were also blood stains on the seat and on the floor of the car. Pinker flew back to Los Angeles where the evidence was analyzed. The bullets found in the car were fired from the same gun as the bullets found in the body of the dead patrolman. Fingerprints lifted from the stolen car matched those of Mike Lapino. Saturday afternoon, we checked in with Chief Harry Miller, Las Vegas Police Department.
This is all you've got on him, huh, Chief?
That's most of it, yeah. Since we staked out that black sedan, I've had the town covered for Lapino.
No one saw him abandon that car, huh?
No one we know of, no. Had good cooperation from the newspapers. Story's been on page 1 since the thing broke.
Anything come of those names we got from Lapino's address book, the ones we phoned for you?
Let's see, I got the list out here. Yeah, here we are. These are the ones my men have checked out already. George Connolly, nothing there. Harry Carlson, he and his wife have been checked out, nothing there. William Spencer, nothing at his place. We've got them all staked out.
That leaves 2 to go, huh?
That's right. We're checking the last 2 now.
Nothing from the railroad station, the airline?
They've been covered ever since we got your phone call. I could be wrong, but I think your man's still here in town.
Any reports on him?
A couple of wild ones, nothing definite. Checked them out. Had one this morning from a dealer at one of the clubs downtown. About 10:30 this morning, he saw Lapino playing the 2-bit slot machine. We showed him his mugshot. He swears it's the guy.
Well, all we can do now is sweat it out, huh?
My men have covered everything. I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Chief Miller. Yeah? You sure, Tim? No, don't try to handle it alone. Keep the place covered the best you can. We'll be right out. They found him.
2 Las Vegas detectives named Billings and Vance answered a phone tip from a grocerman in the east end of town. He said a man had been buying groceries from him for the past 2 days and lived in the apartment house above the store. The 2 detectives showed the grocerman Lapino's mugshot. He gave a positive identification. They then checked with the apartment house manager. After looking at the mugshot, he identified Lapino as the tenant in apartment 10B. Detectives Billings and Vance staked out the place until our arrival with enough men to cover the area.
Vance?
Hi, Chief.
What's the story?
Well, he's in there. Hasn't been out all day. Apartment 10B.
We'll take the front, Chief.
Manager thinks Lapino has a gun. Maid was cleaning the apartment, found some loose slugs in the dresser drawer.
You still want it, Freddie?
Oh, it's our headache.
Joe and I will go in, Chief.
Right. Vance, get the men up on the roof to cover.
We've already fanned him out around the building.
I don't know what they tell you in L.A. on one of these things, but here we tell them to be careful.
Right, Chief. Joe?
Let's go. B's on the 2nd floor.
Let's take the stairs, Chief.
All right. It's a long way up, isn't it?
Yeah. This way.
Here we are. You cover, huh?
Yeah. Shot right through the door.
Yeah, he's got 2 left.
He's got another gun.
Now let's take him. One good kick ought to get the lot.
Right.
Just a minute.
go, Pete.
I got it!
Watch that gun, will you? Let it alone, Lupino.
I got it.
All right, come on, get up. You all right, Pete?
Okay. I get the cut. What's the big idea?
You tell us. You killed that patrolman.
He got tough. You didn't have to kill him. Spotted the stolen car. What else could I do? Come on, you. He had as much chance as I did.
That figures.
Yeah.
2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names and locations were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective knows that every member of his local police department is a qualified man. He knows that his fellow peace officers have been carefully selected to perform their specific duties by trial, by examination, and by results. And so, with a cigarette, the makers of Fatima carefully select and blend only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Fatima.
Michael Everett Lupino was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to recommend the death penalty. Lupino is now serving his life term in the state penitentiary.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Police Department requests the cooperation of all Dragnet listeners in the following police matter. The Los Angeles Police Department would like every and any information regarding a gun fitting the following description. .38 caliber special Smith & Wesson revolver, gold seal model. The gun has a blue steel 4-inch barrel. The serial number is 210088. 210088. If you have any information as to the past or present whereabouts of this gun, contact W.H. Parker, Chief of Police, Los Angeles, California. This is a very important matter. All information furnished will be held in strictest confidence. Thank you.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. 3 times mean good times on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. Stay tuned.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant, assigned forgery detail. An accomplished check forger is at work in your city. His victims, small businessmen. You know his M.O., you don't know his identity. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 4th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Elliott. My name's Friday. I was on the way home from the office, and it was 8:25 p.m. when I got to Collis Avenue.
4656.
Joseph, that you?
Yeah, Ma.
We're in the living room. We have company.
Oh, that's all?
Hello, Joe.
Well.
You remember Mary Fowler, don't you, Joseph?
I sure do. How are you, Miss Fowler?
Just fine, Joe, thank you. Doing some shopping out this way and thought I'd stop by and have a cup of tea with your mother.
Oh, it's good to see you. How are things in the old neighborhood, huh?
Oh, pretty much the same. Oh, Miss Daly, remember her?
Mm-hmm.
Finally died. I suppose it was for the best, though. I was just telling your mother. Jim and Louise Watson finally moved. Jim got a new job out by Altadena.
Oh, that's so.
Yeah. My, you certainly looking fine, Joe. Don't you wear your police uniform anymore?
Oh, my, no, Mary. Joseph's in the detective bureau now. Hasn't worn his uniform for years.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. That note you sent with your Christmas card year before last. What do you do now, Joe?
Forgery detail. My partner and I handle bum check cases.
My, that certainly must be interesting.
Have you had your dinner, Joseph?
Yes, ma'am. I stopped at the place out in Santa Monica and had something.
Yes, well, Mary brought me some nice coffee cake. Pineapple filling. Wouldn't you like one with a cup of coffee, Joseph?
No, I don't know,
Then
Ma.
you sit down in your chair there and rest yourself. Oh, I'm so tired. I have no idea how hard they work, those young fellas.
You remember Genevieve, don't you, Joe? My oldest girl?
Oh, yeah, sure. How is she?
Oh, just fine. Lots of boyfriends as usual. Going out all the time.
Oh, that's good.
She asked to be remembered to you. I think you and Jen were stuck on each other at one time, weren't you, Joe?
Oh, went to a couple of dances in high school. Well, I think she started going steady with the other fella, didn't she?
Young girls. You never know when they're well off.
Here's your coffee, Joseph. Set it here on the end table.
Right. I don't think I can use it, Ma.
Delicious coffee cake. Smell how fresh it is.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, my, 8:45. I should have left half an hour ago.
Oh, you have to go, Mary? Our visits are always so short.
Well, I got a lot of ironing to do, and I have to make Carl's lunch. He's always so fussy about his lunch.
Yes, and I get your coat.
Well, it's nice seeing you again, Joe. Do you want to be remembered as Genevieve?
Yeah, tell her hello, will you, Miss Fowler?
If you're over our way, be sure and drop in and see us, won't you? Genevieve's home to office by 6. She often says she'd like to see you again.
Oh, Genevieve.
Oh, thanks. Good night, Joe. You be sure and come and see us now. Jen will be looking forward to it.
Okay, Miss Fowler. Good night.
Yeah, and I'll show you the door, Mary. You remember the door and neighbors, won't you?
All right, dear. I don't need to tell you that. Good night.
Good night, Mary. Cousin Mary. Having a hard time trying to find a husband for Genevieve.
Yeah. Say, Ma, I'm not very hungry. I can't eat now.
Oh? It's such a shame to wait. That's a lovely coffee cake. Been in your store in some case,
Yeah, same one.
It's taken off your long time.
Well, we've been on it 2 months, yeah.
I never understand it when people write bad checks. Always get caught.
Well, it's easy living while it lasts.
Well, you know what the man's handwriting is like. Don't you know he's married?
Well, we think so, Ma. We're not sure. There's hundreds of check men who work almost alike. Some of them even look alike. There's always a big enough field to pick from. Our problem's picking the right one.
No, I don't know much about it, but the whole thing seems kind of silly to me.
Well, how's that?
What's this man supposed to be doing? Going down a small neighborhood store, stashing $15, $20 checks. If he got himself a job, he'd probably earn that much in one day doing good, honest work.
Say, Ben didn't call before I got home, did he?
Wasn't he with you?
Well, he was going to interview one of the bum check victims on his way home, a grocery store owner down in Highland Park. Might be him now.
Well, now, don't hang on that phone, Joseph. It's coffee gets cold.
Yeah. Friday talking.
This is Ben, Joe. We got a partial identification from that grocer's, nothing great.
Which mugshot did he like?
Stanley Beelbag. Grocer thinks it might have been the guy who pushed the check. He can't be sure.
33 bum checks passed. Same M.O. Not one positive identification. Something's phony, isn't it?
It's got me stopped. We know the endorsements on every one of those checks was written by the same guy. Used practically the same story on every one of his victims. Those 33 people are either blind or they're kidding us.
Well, there's only one other answer.
Huh?
We're looking for the wrong man. For 2 months and 2 days in different shopping districts throughout the city, a man described as well-dressed and middle-aged has been passing worthless checks on independent neighborhood businessmen. Most of the victims were proprietors of small shops, meat markets, liquor stores, grocery stores.
In none of the cases was the check written for more than $25. With the help of the stats office and our record bureau, we've gone through the list of experienced checkmen until we found one man whose description and M.O. matched perfectly with that of a suspect. The man's name was Stanley Bubeck.
We can't locate him, Captain. Another thing, we can't get a positive identification from any of the victims.
And find a suspect they can identify. You've been tracking the guy for 2 months. What's the big mystery?
Well, we tabbed the man Stanley Bubeck, and his record and his M.O., his description, they all tie in perfectly. Now we're not sure it's him.
What do you mean?
Well, if it is Bubeck, it's almost a sure thing that one of the victims could have made him on one of his mug shots. None of them can make up their minds.
Look, maybe one of you two would like to be captain of Forgery for a day, sit in this office and listen to complaints come in over that phone about this guy, the front office, neighborhood businessmen's clubs, retail merchants. They tell me they're troublesome and passing them on to you. Now, whoever this paper hanger is, we want him fast.
Lousy little $20 checks. We'll probably have a lot better target if he tries something bigger.
And don't think he and 100 other checkmen like him don't know that. You won't find them stealing company paychecks and flooding the town with paper. They take it from the little guy and they take it in small amounts, but add up those small amounts at the end of the year and they'll scare you.
That's the rotten part about it. None of those victims can afford a bad check.
And Grocer Donnelly stands in his feet all day and at a profit of $10, $15. He gets tagged with one bad check and he's working for nothing.
We've got bulletins out on the suspect. All the small businessmen in town. They've all been alerted.
Excuse me. Captain Helen. Yeah, okay, Don, right away. Don Myers. He went over the handwriting of those last 3 checks. Wants to see you.
Okay.
How about that special bulletin you got out to the prisons on Stanley Bubeck? Any replies?
Nothing yet, Skipper.
All right, stay on it.
Right, let's go.
It's a sour deal. I'd give a right arm for a line on this guy.
Yeah. Well, it'd move a lot faster if somebody'd help us follow those checks closer. The way it's running now, we hear about the paper 2 weeks after it's been cashed.
The Bubeck thing isn't helping much. No use find another line if we get it settled.
Hi, Don.
Oh, hi. Just finished up on those last 3 checks that came in. You want to give them a look?
How do they shape up?
Well, you can see for yourself. Right here.
Yeah?
Here are the 3 I just went over.
Mm-hmm.
And here are half a dozen bad ones for cash last month. Now, the endorsements on this half doesn't match perfectly.
And those other 3?
Well, I'd say they were endorsed by the same person. Now, look here. You can notice the capital letters. Now, he still handles them the same way. Disconnected from the other letters in the first name. See?
Yeah.
But he connects the capitals in the last name. See?
Mm-hmm.
Not very bright.
Yeah.
Not much doubt in my mind. All the other handwriting factors tie in. Form, skill, shading. They all match up. The movement, terminals, they're all the same for my money. Here, the way he writes the lowercase letters. Yeah, that cinches it for me.
How's that done?
Well, here. The inclination of the terminal stroke on the S. See it? Degree of slant above the horizontals, just about 55 degrees in all cases.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the finger movement in his capitals have plenty of freedom. They're not shaded much.
Yeah.
Nothing like this in his lowercase letters, though, you see? Here.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Not much freedom here. Lots of shading. And the pressure on the lips. Here. They match up.
Mm-hmm.
Same on the downstroke. No, I'd say the skill is medium in all cases. Embellishments, both class 2.
No changes at all in the style?
Oh, he made the signatures look a little different. All 8 factors match up, though. It's the same person.
All we have to do is find him.
Hey, how about this fellow Stanley Bubeck? I thought you had him tapped.
Well, we're not too sure about him, but it's the only line we got to work on, so it'll have to do for now.
Mm-hmm.
Romero, the man in the office. You Joe. Name's Loomis.
Right, Fred. Be there in a minute.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Don. We'll check you later, huh?
Sure, okay. See you.
Let's go, Ben. How do you do? You Mr. Loomis?
Yes, sir. Sergeant Romero?
No, this is Sergeant Romero here. My name's Friday.
Oh,
How are
how
you?
you do?
What can we do for you?
It's about these checks, Sergeant. These right here.
Yeah?
You see, I run a delicatessen out on Sunset, and a few days ago, a new customer came in for a few things and paid for them with these checks. He came in twice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I got the checks back today. They're no good. I tried to look up the man at the address he gave, but there's no such address.
Mm-hmm.
You can see, one's for $15, the other one's for $20.
Yeah.
Reason I asked for you men is because I know the man who runs the drugstore across the street, George Holmquist. He had some bad checks about a month ago. He said you took care of them.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Do you recall the man who passed these checks, Mr. Holmes?
Yes, I think I do. He told me he was new in the neighborhood and he was looking for a place to trade. Well, I guess we're all anxious for new business. I took the checks.
You got those good shots there, Ben?
Well, yeah. Here they are.
Thank you. How about these men, Mr. Loomis? Any of them look anything like the person who passed the checks on you?
No. Let's see. This one, yes, it does look like the man in a way. I don't know if I could be absolutely sure.
Stanley Bubeck, same M.O.
Beg your pardon?
Well, looks like you're stuck with a couple of bad ones, Mr. Loomis. Probably the same man who passed checks on your druggist friend. Well, we're doing everything we can to run this man down.
But what about the checks? Isn't there anything I can do about them?
No, sir, I'm sorry. Not right now. We would like to have you make out a crime report, if you will, and would you leave these checks with us?
Yeah.
Friday. Here's Mr. Loomis. It just came in for you. Reply from Salt Lake City, Utah on that bulletin you sent out on Stanley Bubeck.
Yeah.
He's been in jail for 5 months.
We sent a request to Salt Lake asking him to question Stanley Bubeck if he knew of any forger who matched his description or used his M.O. Bubeck could tell us nothing. Wednesday, February 6th. We threw away the results of 2 months of investigation. We went back and started from the beginning. Despite all precautions and warnings, the checks kept coming in at the rate of half a dozen a week. The same M.O. was used. The same handwriting showed up in the signatures on the checks. Again, with the help of the staff and the statistician's office and the record bureau, we waded through hundreds of names of known checkmen and compiled a new list of 38 possible suspects. Each one fitted the general description of the forger. Each one, at some time in his forgery career, had used the same general method of operation. Well, after days of legwork, we finally boiled down the list of possibles to 3 names: George Roberts, James Young, and Harry L. Johansson. We got out a flyer to all the small businessmen in the areas where the forger operated. Another week passed. The worthless checks kept showing up at the rate of 2 and 3 a day. On February 21st, Ben and I answered a call from a druggist in the Echo Park district.
He bought some toothpaste and a carton of cigarettes, Sergeant. Asked me to cash a $20 check for him.
Did you ever see the man before, sir?
No, he gave me the same old story about being new in the neighborhood. That's when I remembered that police bulletin the department sent me.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have that bulletin?
No, I looked it over, and then I guess it got mislaid.
I wonder if you'd mind taking a look at these pictures here.
Not at all.
These right here.
Mm-hmm. Sure. This one right on top, that's the man.
You sure?
I am. It only happened a few hours ago. Do you know who he is?
Harry L. Johansson. That's the name we have on him.
It doesn't mean anything to me. He got real huffy when I wouldn't take his check. Stalked right out of the store. Very suspicious.
Did you follow him?
No, I told Ralph, my clerk, to follow him. Ralph.
Yeah, Mr. Butler?
You want to tell these officers about that man this morning?
Oh, I followed him down the street for a block and then turned the corner. That's where I lost him.
Oh, it's too bad.
Yeah, all I got was a license number.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Metzen. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You'll prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
September 21st, Thursday, 3 p.m. We took the license number which the drugstore clerk had given us. We went back to the office and checked it through DMV. We found the car was registered to a Russell Burroughs on Pico Boulevard. We checked him out. He told us that he had loaned his car the day before to a friend of his. He identified the friend as Harry L. Johansson and gave us his last known address, 614 Elderwood Avenue. We got out a broadcast on the car. The Elderwood Avenue address turned out to be a single-story wooden frame house in the southern part of the city, on the edge of the industrial district. It needed a coat of paint. A woman in her elderly 30s answered the door and identified herself as Mrs. Johansson. She invited us into the living room. There was a baby playing on the floor.
I don't expect my husband home for another 2 weeks, Sergeant. He's a cosmetic salesman. Travels all over the western states.
When did he leave on this last trip, Mrs. Johansson?
The first of the month. Why, is anything wrong?
What's the name of the cosmetics company that your husband works for?
Harrington Universal. Offices are down on East Main.
Mm-hmm. Do you know a friend of your husband's named Russell Burroughs?
Yes, I do. He's kind of a friend of the family. Please, Sergeant, if there's anything wrong, I ought to know.
We talked to Mr. Burroughs this afternoon. He told us your husband's in town. Burroughs loaned him his car.
Harry? That's silly. He's still on the road. He'd certainly let me know if he was coming back early.
You sure of that, ma'am?
Would you excuse me a minute, Sergeant? I'll have to put the baby to bed.
Certainly, ma'am.
Come on, Bobby. I'll be back in a minute.
Kind of a funny setup, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, if Johansson's pushing bum checks, the money isn't going into his home here.
Wife doesn't act like she knows anything. Seems cooperative.
Afraid we're going to have to level with her if we're going to find out anything, huh?
Mm-hmm. Sure got a cute little girl.
I'm sorry, Sergeant.
That's perfectly all right. Just a few more questions.
Is it possible that your husband could be in town and you might not know it? I mean, could he be staying with a friend or some relatives?
No, if Harry was in town, he'd come home. Why would he stay with anyone else?
When did you last hear from your husband?
Last week. He wrote from San Francisco. The letter's right there on the mantel.
Oh, huh. Well, besides that letter, do you have any other samples of your husband's handwriting around the house?
Well, I think so, yes. Where did you say you were from?
Central Division, Forgery Detail.
You investigate checks, bad checks.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
And you know about my husband.
His prison record, yes.
Harry promised me he was through with all that. He gave me his word.
Sorry, ma'am.
About a month ago, he had some extra money. He wouldn't tell me where he got it. Look, Sergeant, maybe you've made a mistake. Maybe it's not Harry at all. You're not sure, are you?
Did your husband use the phone much? I mean, for out-of-town calls, say?
No. Just that one toll call, a Long Beach number, I think. He has a business friend down there he used to call.
Do you know the number, ma'am?
I can show you. It's on last month's phone bill. Please, Sergeant, if Harry's done something wrong, he did it for us. Me and the baby. Harry's not bad.
Yes, ma'am.
He's done something. He did it for us. Harry hasn't had it easy. He wanted to get things for the baby. Clothes, a better house. All he wanted was a little happiness. A little happiness.
You had it wrong, ma'am. You don't buy it with bum checks. Before we left Mrs. Johansson, we called and had a stakeout placed on the house. And then we got a sample of her husband's handwriting and the Long Beach telephone number that he was in the habit of calling. The next morning, Don Myers in handwriting compared Harry Johansson's letter with the signatures on the worthless checks. It matched. We called the Harrington Universal Cosmetics Company. They never heard of Harry Johansson. We called that Long Beach phone number. A woman answered and gave us the address where the telephone was installed. Turned out to be a swanky, modern apartment house. In apartment 18, we interviewed a good-looking brunette. She identified herself as Harry Johansson's common-law wife. She was well-dressed, and the apartment was virtually furnished.
What's it all about? What do you want, Harry?
Police business. You know where he is?
Well, what's he done?
Do you know where he is?
He drove into Hollywood this morning. Might be back tonight. I don't know for sure.
Is this your apartment?
Yeah. Mine and Harry.
You're sure that Johansson's not here now?
Of course I'm sure. Why?
Oh, and you won't mind if we come in and look around, huh?
I have a right to know what it's all about.
Johansson's wanted for forgery. Now, if you want to get involved, you help him hide out.
I'm not asking for that kind of trouble. Go ahead and look.
Take the bedroom, will you, then?
Right.
Never mind, Cop. Thanks for the help, honey.
I don't want any part of your troubles, Harry. I didn't know a thing about it, okay?
Ben?
Yeah.
You better come along, too, lady.
Well, tell him, Harry. I don't know what it's about. What's the idea of getting me mixed up in it?
How do you think I was paying for this place? Taking you out and buying us clothes for you.
I don't want any part of it. 3-room apartment, a couple of dresses. That's all he ever got me.
You got no complaints, lady?
Huh?
That's more than he bought his kids. 1 p.m. Friday. Ben and I took Harry Johansson to the county jail where he was booked for for suspicion of forgery. We called Mrs. Johansson and notified her. She immediately contacted friends and relatives and raised enough money for a writ to have her husband released from jail. 3 days later, Johansson was arraigned and a date set for his preliminary hearing. After the arraignment, Ben and I took him back to the county jail for rebooking.
I'd like to ask you a question, Johansson.
Yeah?
You got any money of your own left?
Why don't you stick to your own business, Copper?
That family of yours is having a pretty rough time. Your wife borrowed every cent she could find to bail you out. Now, what's she going to live on?
She's got relatives.
There's the elevator.
Come on, Johansson.
They're not going to put me back in Folsom. Not in 100 years.
You've done 2 stretches already for hanging paper. You should have known better, mister.
You got it all figured out, haven't you, Fuzz? Well, I'm not going back.
Take it easy. You got a couple of more weeks on bail before the trial.
Yeah. A couple of weeks.
What's the matter with you? Don't you feel well?
They won't get me back to Folsom.
You're not making it any easier on yourself. All right, Archie.
Don't you cops understand? I hate it. Every lousy bit of it. I'm not going back to Folsom. I'm not going back. Now, do you understand?
It's a good idea, mister. You remember that when you get out. We booked Harry Johansson in the county jail. His bail was continued, and he was released pending the trial. During the next week, along with the district attorney's office, Ben and I helped prepare the case against Johansson. 3 days before the trial opened, we had a phone call from Mrs. Johansson. She told us that her husband had disappeared. There was nothing we could do until he actually failed to appear in Superior Court at the appointed time. On Monday, April 3rd, the case of the State versus Harry L. Johansson officially opened. The defendant failed to show. A bench warrant was immediately issued, and we got out a broadcast and an APB on the suspect. Stakeouts were placed in his house and at the apartment of his common-law wife. 2 days passed. No sign of him.
Nothing, Joe. Bumley just checked it out.
How about those 2 ex-con pals of Johansson's? Did you check with them?
Yeah, nothing there. I don't see how I can last out much longer. One suit of clothes, no money.
We still got a checkbook. When did Skipper say he was coming back?
On 7:30 tonight. 7:15 now.
I get it. Forgery, Friday.
Joseph, this is your mother.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Ma.
I forgot to tell you when you called earlier. You're supposed to be home tonight by 8 o'clock.
What's that, Ma?
Mary Fowler, she's coming over to visit tonight, and Genevieve's coming with her.
Yeah, well, look, will you try to explain to them that I'm working and I can't get away? Huh?
Well, all right, Joseph, I'll try.
Well, if I possibly can, I'll try to make it home by 10. Will that be all right?
All right, Joseph, I'll see what I can do. Genevieve's going to be disappointed.
Yeah. If I'm later than that, don't wait up for me, huh?
Yes, all right then.
Bye, Ma.
Yeah. Bye, Joseph.
Oh, hi, Skipper.
The call just came in.
Yeah?
They found Johansson.
Captain Elliott, Ben, and I drove out the highway to the Tujunga Wash. We turned off and headed into the Mount Gleason area. Captain Elliott directed us onto a dirt road. Halfway up one of the mountains, we spotted a group of cars pulled off on the shoulder of the road. We parked behind them, got out, and started over.
Who found the car, Skipper?
One of the people living back in the hills. Spotted it on his way home from work.
Coroner got here in a hurry.
Yeah. Hi, Dave.
How you doing, Joe? Captain Elliott?
How long's he been dead?
Since last night, I figure. Come on over.
You talked to the man who found Johansson's body, Dave?
Yeah, he didn't touch a thing.
What'd you find?
Powder burns on the temple, powder on the hand. The boys from homicide found the note. It's on the seat right next to him. Here it is, here. It's been checked.
Yeah, thanks.
All ties in, huh, Dave?
Pretty tight, yeah. Gene Bechtel from homicide wants to talk to you, Captain.
Okay, be right back, Joe.
Right. Who do you address the note to, Joe? His wife?
No, your girlfriend.
Look what he wrote it on.
Yeah, blank check.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 9th, an inquest was held in the coroner's office on the main floor of the Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective comes in contact with many people in his daily tour of duty, people who are willing to cooperate and those who won't even try. It's a difficult task, but the police officer has been trained to try to please everybody to the best of his ability. So with a cigarette, the people who make Fatima try to please all long cigarette smokers. They carefully select and blend the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild, the best of all long cigarettes. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Fatima.
On April 9th, the coroner's jury returned a verdict that the death of Harry L. Johansson was caused by a gunshot wound in the head, self-inflicted. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. More good times on NBC.
Actor and producer Jack Webb's aim in Dragnet were for realism and unpretentious acting. He achieved both goals, and Dragnet remains a key influence on subsequent police dramas in many media. The show's cultural impact is demonstrated by the fact that even after 5 decades, elements of Dragnet are known to those who have never heard nor seen the program. The ominous 4-note introduction to the brass and timpani theme music, titled Danger Ahead, is instantly recognizable, as well as the show's opening narration. Stay tuned for more Dragnet, right here on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An old couple suddenly disappear from one of the fashionable neighborhoods in your city. There's no trace of them, not a clue to their whereabouts. Foul play is suspected. Your job, find them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, September 30th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day shift out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Blaine Steed. My name's Friday. It was 3:45 p.m. when I got to room 67A. Missing persons.
Hi, Joe.
Hi. Where's Al?
Next door. I'll be back in a minute.
Oh. There's a phone message for you in the book from your wife.
What is it this time?
She didn't say.
Sure been a bad week.
Oh, what's the matter?
Lucille.
Who?
Our cat.
Again?
Kittens. Had 11 of them by the time I left the house. He was a healthy kid.
Yeah.
Don't know what I'm going to do with him. Hey, your mother likes cats, doesn't she, Joe?
You gave us 2 from the last litter. We still got them as healthy as their mother.
Yeah?
Never pass up a meal.
Hi, Joe.
Hi, Al.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Just getting this report straightened out. Here you go.
Mm-hmm. Mr. and Mrs. Walter Apperson.
How long they been missing?
Well, today's the 4th day. They're an elderly couple. One of their next-door neighbors got a little worried when he didn't see them around the house. Came in yesterday and filed a 316 on them.
Let's see. Clarence Stokely. Is that the neighbor?
Yeah. It says here he lived next to the Appersons for 28 years. Never known him to take off like this. Checked Apperson's cottage out there. Dirty dishes on the kitchen table. Not the way an old couple would leave a house normally.
And how about friends and relatives?
And Stokely called him. None of them have seen or heard from the Appersons for a week. Checked out 2 of their 3 living relatives, cousin in Eagle Rock and Eastern Alhambra. They don't know a thing.
Wonder if I can see that, Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Well, how about the third relative? Nephew, is that it, Joe?
Yeah. Frank Apperson. Says here he goes to a private college out near Monrovia.
Yeah, I haven't been able to contact the kid. He's away on a vacation.
Possible the old couple might be with him?
Not according to Stokely. Says the Appersons seldom spend any time away from their home.
That's all we've got to go on, huh? Just the neighbor's story?
Yeah. Well, he says he checked the garage, too. The Appersons' car's gone.
How does that tie in?
Well, Mr. Apperson hasn't driven the car for the last year and a half. He has a nephew or some friend drive whenever he wants to go out. One more thing. May mean something, may not.
What's that, Al?
Mrs. Apperson's an invalid.
Yeah?
She hasn't left the neighborhood in 10 years.
4 p.m. Ben and I left the office and drove out to interview the neighbor of the missing couple. After checking at his home, we finally located him at his place of business, a small barber shop at the corner of 54th Street and Maxford Place. The chipped gold lettering on the window read, Jim Dandy Tonsorial Parlor. Smaller lettering in the right-hand corner of the window read, Proprietor Clarence Stokely. Except for a man in a white barber's smock sitting in the first chair, the shop was empty.
How do, gentlemen?
Hi. You Clarence Stokely?
That's right.
Police officers, Mr. Stokely. I'd like to talk to you about the missing persons report you filed yesterday.
Oh, yes. Glad to help. You found out anything yet?
You know the Appersons pretty well, do you, Mr. Stokely?
28 years. Sure worried about Walter and Kate. Never known them to do anything like this. Say, I couldn't be of service to you, could I?
I just had a haircut a few days ago. How about you, Joe? Looks like you could stand it for him.
We could talk it over while I cut your hair. Don't think we'd be disturbed. They still look well.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Here, I'll take your coat.
Oh, thank you.
Let's chair there.
You bet.
Mr. and Mrs. Apperson didn't mention anything about going away on a trip, did they?
Not a word. That's what makes it so strange. Here, let me fix this around your neck here.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Play cards with them twice a week, usually. Katie Apperson's a fine whist player. Want me to take some off the sides here, officer?
Yeah, please. Not too much, though. When did you first notice the Appersons weren't home?
Tuesday night. We thought we might go over and play some cards.
I see.
Is that enough off right here, officer?
Let me see. Yeah, that's fine. How is it you waited until yesterday to report the Appersons missing?
Wife and I are great friends of Walt and Katie's, but it's certainly none of our business if they want to go off for a few days.
Uh-huh.
Besides, we thought if anything was wrong, Buzz would have said something.
Who is Buzz?
Anderson's nephew, Buzz. Name's Frank, but everybody calls him Buzz.
I thought he was away at school, place out near Monrovia.
Yeah, Stanley College, private school. But he only stays there part of the time. He's usually home early in the week.
We were under the impression that this nephew, Buzz, was on a vacation.
That's so. That's the first I've heard. Funny Walt and Katie would have told us. Apple?
No, it's all right.
Keep his little down. Head down.
You, think the nephew might account for the Appersons' car being missing? You think he might have taken it on his vacation?
Possible, I guess, but I think Walt would have mentioned it. That car was old, but he was particular about it. Maybe fit it out on top here a little?
All right, fine. Do you know the nephew at all?
Pretty well. Nice young fellow.
He got along with his aunt and uncle all right, did he?
Yes, indeed. Buzz loved them both.
Do you have any idea where the Appersons might be, Mr. Stokely?
No, I don't. Neither does my wife. That's why we called you people. We don't mean to be Badinsky's, but we're worried. Maybe just a little more off the top, officer?
No, I think it's fine. It's okay. You have no idea where we might find the nephew, Buzz?
Not if he's away on vacation. Might check with the school. Buzz might have gone off with a couple of his friends. Do something to dampen that down?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, that porch light of theirs been burning for 3 nights and 3 days. It really kicks up the old electric bill.
Maybe the Appersons may have overlooked it.
Maybe. All right, sir.
Yeah, it's a good-looking haircut if I say so myself.
Yeah. Fine. Here you go.
Thank you.
Oh, here's our card, Mr. Stokely. We'll be checking with you.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I borrow your comb? Barbara never combs your hair right.
That's not going to help you.
Huh?
It's the way he cut it.
What do you mean?
He put the part on the other side.
After we left Clarence Stokely's barber shop, we drove out to the Apperson home on 54th Street just below Seaboard Avenue. We checked the house from top to bottom. The closets and the bedrooms were well stocked with clothes. None of the luggage seemed to be missing. In the basement, back on one of the cupboard shelves, we found a bottle of cyanide. It was half filled. In the kitchen, we found dirty dishes still lying on the table. We put in a call to Ray Pinker at the crime lab, and he came out and took sample scrapings from each of the 3 plates and specimens from each of the half-filled cups of coffee on the table. He also took along a bottle of cyanide to examine it for fingerprints. Ben and I called the record bureau just as a matter of routine and asked for any make and warrants on the nephew, Frank Buzz Apperson. R&I called back with the information that Frank Apperson had been arrested for grand theft auto 6 weeks before. His trial was pending. We checked back with the barber, Clarence Stokely. He knew nothing about the trouble. The next morning, Sunday, with the help of school authorities at Stanley College near Monrovia, we got in touch with the parents of 2 of Buzz Apperson's friends. They told us, as far as they knew, Apperson was on a camping trip with their sons. They were expected back in the next day around noontime. From one of the boarding students at Stanley College, we got the name of Buzz Apperson's girlfriend, a Miss Norma Louise Bernard. She lived in San Marino. Sunday night, we drove out to interview her.
I don't know what I can tell you, Sergeant. Buzzy's on a camping trip with 2 of the fellows from school. That's all I know.
When did he leave? Do you know, Mr. North?
Last Monday morning, they left from school. Said they'd be gone for a week. They're coming back tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You know Buzz Apperson pretty well?
Yes, I do, as well as anyone, I guess.
What is he, just a casual date?
Oh, Buzzy and I have been going steady for almost a year now.
I see.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
Have you ever met the Appersons, his aunt and his uncle?
Just once. They're awfully sweet.
How did Buzz get along with him, do you know?
Well, fine, I guess. The only argument Buzz ever told me about was a month ago. He wanted more allowance, and his uncle said no.
Was Buzz ever in any trouble to your knowledge, Miss Bernard?
I don't think I know what you mean. What kind of trouble?
Well, I mean, was he ever in any trouble at the college or with the law in any way?
Oh, you mean that car Buzz took about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
We were supposed to go to this school dance, and Buzz didn't have a car. I guess he was ashamed. He said he knew the fellow he borrowed the car from, but the day after the dance, the cops came.
How did his uncle react to that?
Well, there was a terrible row, Buzz said. I really shouldn't be telling you. Bud made me promise.
How were feelings between the boy and his uncle before he left on the trip? Did he mention anything to you about that?
Well, we had a date last Sunday night. I asked him how things were at home. He didn't seem to want to talk about it.
The last time you saw him was Monday morning. Is that right?
Yes, just before he left on the camping trip.
Well, you're sure he went on that trip?
Well, of course I'm sure.
How do you mean?
He said, no matter who asked you, I went on a camping trip. He said it a couple of times.
Did he offer any explanation?
No, but I knew everything was all right.
Oh, is that so? How?
I could tell. The way he kissed me.
The next morning, Monday, Ben and I checked with missing persons. There was no additional information on the missing couple. We phoned the barber, Clarence Stokely. He had seen or heard nothing further of Mr. and Mrs. Apperson. We went down to the bank where the Appersons had their account. And with the help of the manager, we found that 3 checks had been passed on the Apperson checking account since the previous Wednesday, a full day after the missing couple had been last seen. 1 check was for $100 and 2 for $50 each. All of them had been cashed in Los Angeles and all bore the signature Walter Apperson. After examination, it was found each signature had been carefully forged. 10:45 a.m. We went back to the office.
Hi, you two. Going someplace?
Oh, hi, Ray. No, just coming.
You finished checking that stuff through the crime lab?
Yeah. I was passing over this way. I thought I'd drop off the report for you. Got it right here.
How'd it go?
Fingerprints on that bottle of cyanide. Leighton Prince got a make. Here's the name on it.
Frank Buzz Apperson.
You look over those dirty dishes we found in the Apperson house?
Checked them through. Nothing.
How about the samples you took from those cups?
Whoever drank that coffee's in trouble. It's loaded.
Yeah?
Enough cyanide to kill a horse.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking, and they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Monday, 1 p.m. We obtained a specimen of Frank Buzz Apperson's signature, and we had Don Myers in handwriting check it out against the signatures on the 3 checks. Both styles of handwriting matched in every detail. At 1:30 p.m., the parents of Buzz Apperson's 2 friends called to tell us that their sons were back from their camping trip. We checked the Apperson home. The nephew wasn't there. We drove out to see his 2 friends. Under questioning, one of them finally broke and admitted that Buzz Apperson had not gone with them on the camping trip. In the process of questioning the boys, one of them told us that he had been with the suspect 2 days before the trip when he purchased some medicine at the campus drugstore. We went to the drugstore and checked the prescription book. It showed Frank Buzz Apperson had purchased and signed for a bottle of cyanide 2 days before the disappearance of his aunt and uncle. Ben and I drove back to the Apperson house. When we arrived, the officers on stakeout had the boy in custody.
No, I'm sorry, officers. I wish I could help you out, but, well, maybe it's not as bad as you think.
When did you last see your aunt and uncle?
Monday, before I left on the camping trip.
They're in the habit of going off like this, are they?
Oh, sure. Aunt Kate and Uncle Walter have friends all over. They go on trips all the time.
Is that so? How do they get there?
They drive, both of them. They've been driving for years.
You talked to your uncle's friend, this Mr. Stokely next door. He says your aunt and uncle haven't been driving for at least a year and a half.
Stokely, the barber? He's one of the neighborhood cranks, Sergeant. Anybody around here can tell you that. Minds everybody's business but his own.
You don't seem too worried about your aunt and uncle. Think they're all right?
Well, we'd have heard by now if they weren't, don't you think, sir? They probably took off on a trip. That's just about the size of it, I think.
And how about this trip of yours?
Sir?
Well, this camping trip that you just come from.
Oh, a couple of fellows from school. We went camping up by Big Bear for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good fishing for September. Ever been up there?
Yeah, have you?
Well, sure. I just said that's why we've been camping. Say, I'm a little thirsty. There's a couple bottles of ale in the refrigerator. Care for a bottle?
No, not right now.
Well, would you mind if I had one? Sure could use it.
No, you go right ahead. We can talk in the kitchen.
Place is in kind of a mess. I guess I'll have to go in and clean it up.
Does your aunt usually leave in a hurry like this?
Not usually, no. Dishes all over the place. She probably figured she'd wait till she got back to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
Aunt Kate does things like that once in a while.
That so?
Yeah, she's like that sometimes. Well, happy days.
Yeah. Okay, Buzz, you want to tell us? Where are they? Your aunt and uncle, what happened?
Say, I don't think I know what you're talking about. What's the trouble?
Come on, Buzz. You know what the trouble is. Let's have a straight story. It's going to save a lot of time.
Sir?
We can draw it out as long as you like. It'll be a lot easier if you cooperate.
Look, I don't know what you're thinking, Sergeant, but whatever it is, I don't understand you. What are you getting at?
Something's happened to your aunt and uncle. We're pretty sure you know what it is.
Well, how could I? I've been away on this camping trip.
You've been away, but not on a camping trip.
Sir?
We've checked you out from the day you came to live with your aunt and uncle, boy. You're going to make us spell out the whole record for you?
But I've been away. I just got back. I don't know what's happened.
We found a bottle of cyanide in the basement cupboard. Your fingerprints are all over it.
Well, sure, that figures. We use it for bug poison in the garden. I take care of the garden. I use it all the time.
You use it in coffee?
Sir?
The police chemist checked what was left in 2 of the cups that were on that table there. Cyanide in both of them, enough to kill 6 people. Now, look, boy,
We've talked to your neighbors, your teachers, your girlfriend Norma, and those 2 pals you were supposed to go camping with. Now, we can drag all of them out if we have to. They're going to make a liar out of you.
Sir?
I think you got it the first time.
Well, there couldn't be any cyanide in those cups. Why should there be?
We think you can tell us that.
But I can't. I don't know anything about this. I haven't any idea what you're talking about. Is this some kind of a gag?
You know better than that.
How about those checks, Buzz?
Sir?
The ones you forged your uncle's signature on. You need the money that bad?
I didn't forge any checks. I was away on a camping trip. Dave and Willie were with me. They can tell you.
You got in a row with your uncle. Maybe about that stolen car. Is that how it happened?
It had nothing to do with it. I want to see Norma. I want to talk to Dave and Willie. They'll tell you.
How about the man at the campus drugstore?
Sir?
The one you bought the cyanide from. You want to talk to him, too?
Look, are you two fellas kidding me? This must be some kind of a gag, is it?
Your aunt and uncle are missing. There's evidence of foul play. Now, does that sound like a joke?
Well, how should I know where they are? I wasn't there. I want to talk to Norma. I want to see Dave and Willie. They'll tell you. Why don't we drive over and see them now?
It's all right with us. Want to get your coat?
Sure. Norma's the girl I'm engaged to. Dave and Willie are my best friends. They know everything about me. A couple of real nice guys.
And so?
Sure.
Well, let's go, babe.
Yeah. Dave and Willie have been all through school with me. They can vouch for me.
Yeah?
Sure. You can take their word, too.
We will. 5:50 p.m. We left the Apperson house, drove across town, and headed over the Arroyo Seco toward the home of the suspect's friend, Dave Killefer. 6:33 p.m. We took a right turn off the freeway, headed south for another mile, and finally pulled up in front of the Killefer home. Buzz Apperson's friend, Dave, met us at the front door.
What's it all about, anyway, Buzz? What's the pitch?
Well, that's what I want to know. Look, is this some kind of a gag you guys cooked up on me?
We were on the trip, Buzz. I don't know anything about any gag. What's all this about your aunt and uncle?
I don't know. That's what these officers want to find out.
I'd like to have you tell us again, Dave. Was Buzz here with you on that camping trip?
Sure, that's why we came over. Now, tell him about it. You know.
All right, let's have it, Dave. Was he with you on that trip?
These officers aren't kidding, Buzz. They want the truth.
Well, tell him I was with you and Willie. We went to Big Bear.
They're looking for your aunt and uncle. I'm not going to lie now. You didn't go to Big Bear with us.
All right, Dave, thanks.
Well, he's lying, officers. Who put you up to this stunt, Dave? They'll throw you in the jug for a gag like this. Who's behind it?
You're the guy who said it was a gag. You told us to tell everybody you were up at Big Bear with Willie and me. How about leveling? What's it about?
He's lying.
What's it about? You've got nothing to hide. Have you?
He's lying. You can tell that, can't you? Let's go talk to Willie. He'll tell you the truth.
Joe? All right. Thank you, Dave. That's all.
All right, Sergeant. Sure there isn't anything I can do?
No, thanks. Just the same. Good night.
Okay. Good night.
Anybody could tell he was lying. Isn't that right, Sergeant?
Well, he's your friend, Buzz. Why do you say that?
Well, he was just plain lying, that's all. Couldn't you tell?
No, I couldn't. How about you, Ben?
Not me. Why would he lie, Buzz? You told us he was your pal.
Some kind of a stupid gag they're pulling. The gang in the fraternity I belong to, Dave's one of them. They've done it before. I don't know why they're lying, but they are.
Where's your friend Willie live?
Sir?
You said you wanted to drive over and have us talk to Willie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where does he live?
Look, would you mind very much?
How's that?
I got a terrible headache. Would you mind very much just driving around a while? I'd like to clear my head a little. I can't figure this thing out.
All right. Why don't you roll down the window there, Buzz?
Okay. Yeah. Air feels good. Sure is hot out tonight.
Yeah,
Been a pretty long summer, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Say, I guess maybe we ought to forget about going over to Willie's place. He strings along with the rest. He'd probably lie, too.
You said you wanted us to have a talk with him.
Yeah, but I've been thinking about it. He'd only lie. It'd be better if we drove over to see Norma. That's the girl I'm engaged to.
Yeah, that's what we understand.
If anybody can give you a straight story, Norma can. She doesn't live far. Straight down the road here into San Marino.
Yeah, we know.
Oh. Sure would appreciate it if you'd drive over there.
Okay.
Norma can straighten this thing out. Swell girl. We're going to get married as soon as we can.
Oh?
Yeah. She saw me leave on that trip to Big Bear. She won't lie to you. Sure wish my aunt and uncle had left a note where they were going. All this trouble.
You mind if I lay out a couple of things for you, Buzz?
Now, what do you mean?
When a police officer picks somebody up, he's got a good reason for it.
Yeah, but Dave was lying, Sergeant. You know that.
It's a lot more than what Dave had to say. Now, you've done something wrong. We don't know what exactly, but we've got an idea, and we're going to find out.
You can't prove anything. I got that cyanide for the garden. We used it around the house for different things.
You don't use it in coffee cups. What happened, boy? Where's your aunt and uncle?
Next turn for Norma's house, up by the signal. Turn left.
Yeah. Come on, Buzz. You know what happened. You're going to have to face it sooner or later. If it's not tonight, then tomorrow morning or tomorrow night or the night after.
But I don't know what happened.
The facts say you do, and they're not going to disappear. Now, you made the problem. It's going to stick out in front of you till we find an answer. How about it?
Norma will know what to do. Wait till I talk to Norma.
Why don't you stand up and face it, boy? Getting your girl mixed up in this isn't going to help.
She'll know what to do.
Can she find your aunt and uncle? Can she? How about the 3 checks? How about them? Can she explain those signatures that you forged? Maybe those fingerprints on the cyanide bottle. Can she help you out there? Now, look, Buzz, I believe you. You love the girl. Do you want her mixed up in all this?
Here we are, Joe.
Okay. That's the right house, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, that's Norma's house.
All right, what's it going to be? Do we go in?
She'd cry. She'd only cry. Norma thinks a lot of me.
Yeah?
She's a swell girl. I don't want to have to tell her. She'd only cry.
Yeah.
I killed my aunt and uncle.
8 p.m. Buzz Apperson directed us to drive to San Pedro to the west basin of the Los Angeles harbor. We got out of the car and followed him to the end of one of the piers. He told us his story, and we put in a call to the office. Within half an hour, a fireboat and a barge were on the scene, and a diver was sent down into the water a few yards from the edge of the pier. We stood by and watched. Buzz Apperson, Ben, and I.
I put quite a bit of cyanide in the coffee. I had to be sure.
How'd you manage to get both of them in the car?
I waited till way after dark, and then I dragged them out. Drove down to the end of the pier right here. Put the car in low. It went over. Right where the diver went down. Just at this end of the barge.
All right. Clear those lines up there. There's the first one.
You better stand back there.
Yeah. Watch it.
Okay, sir.
Let's go. Buzz?
Yeah. My aunt.
Only one thing missing, boy.
Sir?
A reason. Why'd you do it?
I'm not sure anymore. Stolen car trouble, I guess. My trial was coming up. All that trouble. I didn't want my aunt and uncle to go through all that.
You mean that's why you killed him?
I think so. I didn't want them to be ashamed of me. That must sound funny.
Nobody's going to believe you.
Suppose they don't.
Yeah.
Will it make any difference?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 15th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 92, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. To successfully prosecute a criminal suspect, the working detective gathers all available physical evidence. And in the crime lab, this evidence is carefully selected and screened to determine its worth. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima select and buy the finest tobaccos, both Turkish and domestic. And then these tobaccos are skillfully blended to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Pack after pack, they're extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima.
Frank Buzz Apperson was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree and sentenced to life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Be sure to hear Theater Guild Sunday on NBC.
You're listening to HOJO Radio. More classic old-time radio coming your way next.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A small bakery shop in your city is held up. A man and his daughter are shot down without reason. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, November 3rd. It was chilly in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Ed Walker. My name's Friday. It was 5 minutes to midnight when we got to 318 Silver Avenue, Stendel's bakery shop.
Yeah? Romero and Friday, Central Robbery.
Hi, I'm Jacobs, Unit 16R. My partner Olson's back there in the shop talking to the owner.
You answered the call, did you?
Yeah, must have been a crazy man. Shot two of them down, cold blood. There they go in the ambulance now. Shot up pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Who runs the place?
Swedish family named Stendal. Father, mother, two daughters. All four of them work in the bakery here.
Mm-hmm. They all here at the time of the robbery?
Yeah, the hold-up man shot the father and the oldest daughter. The mother and the younger girl are in the back, straight through that door.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Right, Sergeant.
You know, on the side of the door here, looks like a bullet hole.
Hey, Jacob.
Yes, Sergeant.
You want to call into the crime lab, ask them to send somebody out?
Right.
Thank you.
Hi. You Olson?
That's right.
Romero and Friday, Central Robbery.
Oh, how are you? These are two of the victims, Mrs. Signey Stendal. The girl's her daughter, name's Jennifer.
Any other witnesses?
Not so far. Neighborhood around here is pretty deserted this time of night. Hold-up man made a fast getaway.
And two people who were shot. What kind of shape are they in?
The father, Mr. Stendal, he's got a bullet wound in the right shoulder. Older daughter's a lot worse. Her name's June. 19 years old. Shot 4 or 5 times through the stomach.
Mm-hmm. You want to stand by?
Right, yeah.
Okay. Mrs. Stendal, we're from robbery detail.
Ja, how do you do?
How do you do?
Jenny, Wolfsna lägger ansiktsplats på herrarna. Två stolar. You will excuse me for not getting up, officer. You don't feel so bad.
That's perfectly all right, ma'am.
Chair for you, officer.
Well, thank you. I'll get it. Thank you very much. You and your daughter here were in the front of the bakery shop at the time of the robbery. Is that right, Miss Stendal?
No. Jenny was back here with her father. That's Lars, my husband. Uni and I were in the shop in front.
Oh, who were you with now?
Uni and I.
Joe?
Mama means June, my older sister. She calls you June. Yeah, June.
Oh, well.
You mind telling us what happened?
Well, June and I were scrubbing the floor of the shop. Every Tuesday night we scrubbed the floor of the shop. Then this man came in and pointed a gun. He wanted our money.
About what time did he come in?
11:15, 11:20. I don't remember for certain. He wanted all money, and I gave it to him.
How much was that, ma'am?
Milyen du hur många pengar var det förresten?
$24.
$24. Just the paper money. He took it and put it in his pocket. My daughter, she started to cry. The man hit her. She cried some more. Then Lars and Jenny came running from the back.
Yes, ma'am.
The man pointed the gun. He made Lars and me and Jenny stand against that wall. But not June. He took hold of her. Jenny, hur fällde dig? Den vägen din mannen. Han var där. June
was getting fresh with her, Mom. The man tried to get fresh with June officers. June hit him. He tried to drag out the door with...
Yeah, June hit him. Hit him good. And he went like that, threw her against the counter and pushed June down. Crazy man. Crazy look. He kicked her.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lars, my husband, he ran at the man. He heard the gun loud, and Lars fell down.
And I screamed.
Yeah. Jenny screamed. He turned and he saw the man standing over you. He pointed the gun down at her.
Yes, ma'am.
Crazy look on him. He kept shooting her 4, maybe 5 times. Jenny screamed. She kept screaming. The man ran out the door.
It's all right now, Miss Kendall. Had either one of you ever seen this man before?
No.
Neither did I.
Would you know him if you saw him again?
Yeah, I think so.
I would, officer. I got a good look at him. He was wearing a blue cap like a baseball player wears.
Mm-hmm. How'd he get away? Was he on foot or did he have a car?
Nobody followed him, but after he left, I heard a car start up down the block, and then it drove away.
Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Stendhal?
I hope you catch the man. He's bad. Please catch him.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to try.
Jenny, var snäll att ge mig Nichols ifrån kassan.
Yes, Mom. Here, Mama.
Here, officer. When you find the man, please call me.
You keep the nickels. We'll call you. Before we left the scene of the robbery and shooting, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter gave us their description of the hold-up man, together with the clothing he wore. The suspect had no outstanding physical characteristics that they'd noticed. The only thing unusual about his clothing was that he wore what appeared to be a baseball cap at the time of the hold-up. She described the cap as light blue with a visor. Together with Officers Bechtel and Lopez from Central Robbery, we canvassed the immediate neighborhood for other possible witnesses. We found none. The next morning, we went out to the hospital. The condition of the older daughter, June, was critical. We interviewed the father. He could tell us nothing. At 10 a.m., Mrs. Stendhal and her younger girl, Jenny, were brought to the office, and we started them looking through mug books of parolees previously convicted of armed robbery. Within 2 hours, both of them positively identified the picture of a recent San Quentin release as that of the hold-up man. His name was Harold Best. We started a quick rundown. You pulled the package on? Yeah, here's the dope. Harold Best. Alias Harold Norris, alias Harold Thompson, alias Tom Norris. One term for armed robbery in Q. Got out 4 months ago. Ammo and description both match.
How about the ex-con files? You checking?
He's registered. Did you get a hold of his parole officer?
Yeah, 2440 Excelsior Avenue is rooming there.
Well, that checks with the ex-con files.
Parole officer says Best went to work 2 weeks ago at a filling station over on Vermont.
Yeah?
Doesn't seem to be able to hold a job. Quarrelsome, ran himself into debt. I got it. Robbery, Romero. Yeah, right. That's all, huh? Yeah. Right, bye. Ray Pink at the crime lab. They checked the slugs taken from the 2 victims.
Yeah?
They came from a .32 caliber revolver. Probably a Colt.
Mm-hmm. Anything else?
That's it. Not too bad a start.
We've had worse.
Yeah. Maybe we can make that phone call pretty quick.
2 p.m. Wednesday. Ben and I drove out to his rooming house at 2440 Excelsior Avenue, and we found that Herbert Best was still living there. We had the landlady show us his room. Besides the usual personal belongings, We came across nothing of consequence. After questioning the landlady, we drove to the service station on Vermont Avenue where Best was supposed to be employed.
I don't see anyone around.
Well, there's a fellow over there greasing your car in the rack.
Oh, yeah. That looks like Best.
Mm-hmm. Hey, fella. You.
Yeah?
Can you tell us if there's a Herbert Best working here?
Sure, I'm him. Why?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Yeah? What's the matter?
Routine investigation. Got a few questions for you.
Supposed to have this car greased up a 3:45. What am I supposed to do, please? You're the boss.
I'll find him, Joe. You got any heat on you?
No. What's it all about?
How long is this going to be?
Couple minutes. Won't take more than a grease job. Put this thing in shape.
Well, we'll wait for you.
How'd you find me? That nosy landlady of mine?
No, routine channel.
Every fetting on this trap was closed. Piece of junk. Well, what's it all about?
Got a few things to straighten out, Best. How long you been working here?
Well, you didn't drive out here for that. That's not your game. What's the pitch?
Routine investigation. We'd like to know where you've been spending your nights.
For instance?
Sunday night? Where were you?
Well, I don't know. I went to a show. Yeah, I saw a Mickey Rooney picture.
Where?
Downtown. I had a beer after the show, come home.
How about Monday night?
Well, I went home after work. I was pooped. Went to bed early.
Can you prove it?
Landlady saw me come in, always snooping around. She ought to know if I was there or not.
How about last night, Tuesday?
Played some cards with a friend of mine, him and his wife, Penny Annie Booker.
Where?
Their place, it's down on Pico, near the park. You can ask them.
What time did you get there?
Well, I'm not sure. About 8 o'clock, I guess.
What time did you leave?
What's it all about?
What time did you leave?
Around midnight, yeah. Must have been around midnight.
What'd you play with your friend and his wife?
Poker. I lost as usual. Took a streetcar home, went to bed.
Sure you didn't leave earlier?
Of course I'm sure. It was around midnight, I remember.
What do you remember?
I looked at my watch. Good enough for you?
What time did you get home?
Well, it takes about a half hour on a trolley. Must have been about 12:30.
Did the landlady see you come in?
Well, I don't know if she saw me or not. Always snooping around. Probably did.
You're not sure?
No, of course I'm not sure. She looks for me. I don't look for her.
You own a gun, Best?
You know better than that, copper. Ex-cons can't have a gun.
Your friend and his wife. Now, they're going to back you up if you were playing cards with them until midnight?
Why not? I was. Say, there's a boss looking for me. I better let him know I'm here.
Just a minute, Best.
Yeah?
What's that you got in your back pocket there?
Yeah?
In your back pocket, the right one there.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Baseball cap. Why?
4 p.m. Ben and I checked the suspect's locker at the service station and then drove him back to the office to the interrogation room. We continued questioning him. He denied any knowledge of the holdup and shooting at Stendhal's bakery shop the night before. We asked him again about the friends he was supposed to be playing cards with at the time of the robbery. He told us that they lived over on Pico, but he couldn't remember the address. He volunteered to direct us there, but he said they wouldn't be home. He told us their names were Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell, and that they were in charge of the food concessions at one of the football stadiums in town. Best was held for suspicion of robbery. That night, we drove out and interviewed the landlady at his boarding house. She knew nothing of Best's whereabouts the previous night. She didn't know what time he left or what time he returned. Ben and I went over his room again. There was no sign of a gun. Friday, 2 p.m. Officers Bechtel and Lopez went out to the hospital to see if Mr. Stendhal and his daughter June could identify Best's mugshot. Ben and I drove out to the stadium to locate Mr. and Mrs. Clyde Mitchell. There was a high school football game going on.
High school kids sure have a lot of fun nowadays. Best years of your life, Joe.
You sound like you're 85.
Some nights I feel like it. The way those kids turn out for these things, you'd think UFC and Notre Dame were playing.
You see the number on that gate over there?
Yeah, 23. Is that the number the gatekeeper gave us?
Yeah. Must be the Mitchell stand over there. Come on.
Oh, miss, can you tell us where to find Mr. and Ms. Mitchell?
Yeah, around back of the stand. You knock on the door.
Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Mitchell?
That's all right. What is it?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to you if you have a few minutes.
All right, I'm having a bite of lunch, but come on in. Shut the door.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, the food business, you never get a chance to feed yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, you care for some of these? New kind of potato chips. Revolutionary, it says.
Oh?
Mother Thompson's puff chips, flavored. Got all kinds, see? These here are a combination, see, garlic and eggplant. They taste different, have some?
No, thank you. I would. Thank you. See, we're inquiring about a friend of yours, Ms. Mitchell. Maybe you can tell us something about him.
No, who's that?
Man by the name of Herbert Best.
Herb, yeah, old-time friend of my husband's. What do you want to know?
You see him quite often, do you, Ms. Mitchell?
Mm-hmm. Once, twice a month. Clyde and I play cards or go out bowling with him. Herb's pretty good company.
Uh-huh. When's the last time you saw him?
Early this week, Tuesday, I think it was.
Sure, it was Tuesday.
See, yeah. Was, we played cards, what?
At your place?
That's right, low poker. Clyde and Herb and me.
What time did Best get to your place, Ms. Mitchell?
Right after I finished up with the dinner dishes, around 7:45, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. How long did you stay?
A couple of hours. We sat around, had a few drinks, played poker, nickel limit.
What time did you leave? Do you remember that?
A little before 10, I think.
I'm sure that, ma'am, it's important.
Sure as I can be. Must have left before 10 because Clyde and I listened to the 10 o'clock news alone. Then we went to bed right after.
Your friend Best tells us he didn't leave your place until midnight.
Oh, that's not right. There must be mixed up. He left before 10, I'm sure of that.
All right, Ms. Mitchell. Thank you.
Say, I hope I haven't said anything I shouldn't have. I know Herb's next time.
Yeah,
He likes to gamble. You're not checking up on him for Tuesday night, are you?
that's right.
You playing too much poker?
We're not playing enough. 3:30 p.m. We located Mr. Mitchell, corroborated his wife's story, and then we went back to the city hall. Officers Bechtel and Lopez were waiting for us. They told us that they had seen Mr. Stendhal and his daughter, June, at the hospital. Both of them had identified Herbert Best's mugshot as that of the holdup man. At a show-up, Mrs. Stendhal and her daughter identified Best. We checked auto records for all stolen cars that might tie in. There were none. We then started to work on the theory that he'd taken a bus from his friend's place where he had been playing cards to the Stendhal bakery where the shooting took place. Lopez and Bechtel rode the bus over the same route. It took 43 minutes. Plenty of time for Best to have gotten from one place to the other, even on a slow run. We interviewed the bus driver who'd been on duty that particular line Tuesday night between 10 p.m. and midnight. He identified Best as one of his passengers, but he didn't remember where he got off. The next morning, Ben and I met with Ed Walker, captain of robbery.
Hi. How'd you make out? Just saw the deputy DA. Made out the case for him. Yeah. We got the complaint. He'll be arraigned this afternoon. What sort of case you got?
Well, each one of the Stendhal family identified Best. His alibi didn't stand up for Tuesday night.
Uh-huh.
Then we got that bus driver. He tapped Best, too. And that blue baseball cap. All we need now is a hold-up gun.
I hate to spoil it for you. This letter just came through in the mail. Have a look. Thanks. What do you think? I read in the paper this morning about Herbert Best. You got the wrong guy. I'm the one who held up that bakery.
Every detail about that robbery is written down in that letter. The information wasn't in the newspaper story. Nobody else but the hold-up man would know all those details.
Yeah, wait a minute, listen to this.
Yeah.
If you don't believe I'm the right man, I'll shoot up a couple of more jerks. Next time, I'll kill them.
No crank letter.
No, it isn't.
You got the wrong man.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to this case history recorded by a typical Fatima smoker.
Hi there. My name is Bab Beckwith. Bab, that's short for Bethany Ann Beckwith. I live in New York City and I'm a fashion stylist. The other day at a showing of the new fall styles, I ran out of cigarettes. A friend of mine, a designer, introduced me to the new long Fatima. I really wish someone had told me about them sooner. Fatimas are a lot milder than the cigarettes I've been smoking. And they have a delightful flavor, too. I'm very glad to recommend them to you, because I know from experience it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatimas.
And more smokers every day are finding that out. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
After we received the anonymous letter in the mail confessing to the Stendhal Bakery holdup, we met with the deputy district attorney and acquainted him with the new facts in the case. That afternoon, the charges against Herbert Best were dropped. We started again at the beginning. 10 a.m. Monday, November 9th. The members of the Stendhal family were again shown mug books of ex-cons with robbery records. This time they picked out 8 mug shots of known robbery men, each with a marked resemblance to the original suspect, Herbert Best. Together with officers Bechtel and Lopez, we started checking them out. The first 2 days, we tracked down 4 of the 8. All of the 4 were in the clear. 5:15 p.m., we got back to the city hall, the car pool.
Any empty spots, Joe?
No, but don't park it in any one of the city councilman's stalls.
Yeah, might get so.
Well, why don't you pull up here? Boyd will take care of it.
No, okay.
That's good, that's good.
Doggone it, I knew there's something I forgot to do.
What's that?
Oh, they had an underwear sale today. That place down in South Fig, shorts, t-shirt. Wife told me to be sure and get down there.
Well, that'll be another one. That place has sales all the time, don't they?
Only twice a year on underwear. Stuff I've got's not going to last the next time.
Friday, Ben, wait a minute.
You came back?
Yeah. Hi, Beck.
Hi. What up?
Yeah. How'd you make out?
2 men we checked were clean. We picked up something 77th Street Station. Now, go ahead, Ben.
Mm-hmm. Now, watch that elevator door, Joe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, what's with 77th Street?
Oh, a couple of men in traffic out there covered an accident this afternoon. 91st and Central, hit and run.
So?
And one of our traffic cars saw the collision, took out after the guy. Chased him 10 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And while they were chasing him, they thought they saw the driver throw something out of the car window.
Yeah, what?
I'm coming to that. When they finally pulled the car over, gray coupe, the driver told him his shoulder was wrenched in the accident. He was on his way to his own doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Our men took him to 77th Street, had the doc there look at him.
Yeah.
Well, the doc was treating the guy. Only one of the officers was in the room.
Mm-hmm.
When he turned to get a drink of water, the suspect slugged him, then the doctor jumped out of the window, got away. Teletype shot him.
We went to an awful lot of trouble to beat a traffic rap.
Yeah, that's the way it impressed the boys out there. They got out a broadcast of the guy, went back to the spot where they thought they saw the guy toss this thing out of his car when they were chasing him.
Did it pay off?
They found a 32 Colt revolver. Russ Camp's checking it now in the crime lab.
What did you say the man looked like?
Description measures pretty close to our holdup guy.
I'll get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, just a minute. You bet.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Russ. Yeah. Okay, fine, right. Russ Camp checked the 32 revolver with the slugs in the Stendhal case.
Yeah.
Positive make.
The gray coupe, which the unidentified suspect had been driving, had been checked out by traffic officers at 77th Street Division. They had found that the owner and driver of the car was a man named Bruno Stock, a 2-time loser with a page full of major and minor crimes to his credit. Checked his mama sheet, and we got out a broadcast on him in an APB. A stakeout had been placed at his last known address. We picked up a sandwich and a cup of coffee for dinner, and then we started checking out Bruno Stock's relatives and friends. By 6 o'clock the following night, we still had no idea where he was. A little after 9 p.m., we got a call from an informant who told us that a Tommy Josephson, a small-time thief and reputedly a friend of Bruno Stock's, wanted to talk to us. We found him in a small apartment over on West 6th.
One thing I want to set you straight on. Bruno's no friend of mine. He's in on the heavy rackets. No heavy racket man's a friend of mine.
All right, we got it. Now where's Bruno?
He came here tonight, 6:15. Moved right in on me. Didn't even ask me.
What do you want with you?
You remember, Bruno's no friend of mine.
Yeah, well, we got that. Now, what do you want?
A gun. He knew I had one. I keep it for self-protection. You can't trust these having that.
Did you give him the gun?
He gave it to him. He took it. Shook me down like a rat. Made me go out and buy dinner for him. My own dough. Had to bring it back here for him.
Yeah.
Bruno's no friend of mine. What he does with that gun is his grief. It's out of my hands.
When did he leave here?
An hour ago, I think. Maybe a little less. Shook me down like a rat. Real heavy guy.
Where was Bruno going?
I don't know. He's crazy. All them heavy guys are crazy. Talk like somebody with a paper head.
Can you tell you where he was going?
See a friend of his out in Dogtown. The guy runs a bowling alley. Bruno's going to buy his car.
What for?
He's heavy, I tell you. Said he was going out on a heist tonight. Did he ever write you guys a letter?
Why?
Well, he told me he was going to prove what he wrote to you. Crazy. I didn't get it at all.
Yeah.
Said he was going out to kill a couple of jerks.
9:30 p.m. We got the address of the bowling alley run by Bruno Stock's friend, and we called the office. An alert for the suspect was broadcast immediately. Together with Gene Bechtel and Lopez, we drove to the bowling alley. Ben and I went in. Bechtel and Lopez covered the outside.
Good crowd. I wonder where they do business. I don't see any cars. No, Oh, yeah. There it is. Way over in the front.
Oh, yeah. There's nobody behind the cash register. How about that fellow in the white T-shirt standing by the cigarette machine?
Yeah, looks like he works here. Let's go. Joe, the guy with him. Just turned towards
Bruno, come on.
He sees us. He's going to the back.
All right, you, let's hold it up. Come on.
He ducked in there to the right, Joe.
Down behind the alley. Hold it up, Stock.
The window, Joe.
He went right through it. Come on.
Yeah. There he is. Get out.
Yeah. Joe? He's in there, back over the front.
Right. Over the fence, Joe. There he is.
All right, give it back.
Yeah.
Come on.
You see?
No.
He's got to be in the yard someplace.
Yeah.
Where'd he come from?
I can't see. Keep down.
Backstairs of that house. There he is.
Give it up, Stock. All right, mister.
You tag him. Come on. What's it look like?
Wait a minute. The shoulder wound.
Yeah.
You want to shake him down?
Yeah.
Joe? Ben? You all right?
Yeah. Get an ambulance, will you, Beck?
Right.
I'll throw the cuffs on him.
Yeah. Well, that's it, Joe.
Yeah.
Where you going?
I got a phone call to make.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 18th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 84, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. In the Record Bureau of all Metropolitan Police Departments, there's a special file in which all known criminals are cataloged and cross-indexed according to identifying marks. Marks which help the working detective. And so with the cigarette. The outstanding identifying mark of Fatima is quality. The careful selection and blending of only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker, you'll find, like I did, that every pack is extra mild. You'll find it's the best of long cigarettes. Smoke Fatima.
Bruno Alfred Stock was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and assault with intent to commit murder, 2 counts. Because of his prior convictions, he was adjudged an habitual criminal and sentenced to a life imprisonment. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Next Tuesday, it's Fibber McGee on NBC.
The original Dragnet, starring Jack Webb as Sergeant Joe Friday, ran on radio from June 3rd, 1949 to February 26th, 1957, and on television from December 16th, 1951 to August 23rd, 1959, and then from January 12th, 1967 to April 16th, 1970. All those versions ran, of course, on NBC. There were 2 Dragnet feature films, a straight adaptation starring Jack Webb in 1954, and, of course, a favorite of mine, a comedy spoof in 1987. There were also television revivals without Webb in 1989 and 2003. Stay tuned for more classic Dragnet, right here on HOJO Radio.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. Unidentified thieves start a campaign of burglaries in your city. Homes are broken into and stripped of their furnishings. There's no lead on the criminals. Your job, get them.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes. The difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke that best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest. Turkey Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, August 3rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from the business office, and it was 9:25 a.m. when I got to room 45, burglary detail.
Did you get all the money together, Joe?
Yeah, $1 from each man in the detail. We got to buy the gift.
When's Austin going to get married?
Next Sunday. We haven't got too much time.
Well, we always have to pick out the gift.
Somebody has to do it. You got any ideas what we ought to get him?
Talked to my wife over the weekend. She thinks it'd be nice if we get him something to start housekeeping with. Maybe some nice kitchenware, table lamp.
Yeah, I don't know if we have enough dough for a good lamp. But maybe they might like a bedspread. You can always use them. Or maybe a nice wool blanket, huh?
I don't know. Got to be careful about those personal things.
What do you mean? What's personal about a blanket?
Well, we don't know much about the girl Austin's going to marry. She might not need any.
Excuse me. Could you tell me something?
What's that?
Could you tell me something?
Well, what do you want to know, little girl?
Is this where you come to report about stolen things?
Oh, that all depends. Why don't you come on in and tell us all about it, huh?
Thank you, I will.
Like to sit down, little girl?
I'm 12 years old. I'll stand if it's all right.
All right. Now, would you like to tell us what's been stolen?
Everything.
Hmm?
Everything's been stolen. We came back this morning and found it that way. Grandpa's awful mad.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we better get the facts to start with. What's your name?
Ruth Ann Marie Jeanette.
Jeanette. Is that your last name?
No, Snyder. Ruth Ann Marie Jeanette Snyder.
Did you come down here alone, Ruth?
Yes, Grandpa sent me. He's awful mad.
Where do you live?
With Grandpa.
Where's that?
Over on College Avenue. Grandpa's leg's bothering him. Arthritis. So he told me to come down and tell you about it.
About what, man?
Everything. We came back this morning on the train, and when we got home, we found everything was stolen. It's terrible.
What do you mean by everything?
I walked all the way over here to tell you. I'm thirsty, sir. Do you fountain in the hall?
Oh, we've got a cooler over here. Let me get you a cup. Huh?
Thank you.
You like a drink, Ben?
Oh, no, thanks.
All right, little lady. Here you are.
Thank you very much.
Well, would you like to tell us what it's all about?
Grandpa and I got back to Los Angeles on the train this morning. We've been on a trip back to Indiana.
Uh-huh.
We took a taxi cab home from the station. When we got there, everything was gone. Everything but the rug in the dining room.
Yeah?
All the furniture, every single bit. Sofa, the chairs, my desk upstairs, the stove. Everything's been stolen. I want you to find it.
I mean, someone broke in while you were gone and took all your furniture. Is that what you think?
You know they did. The lock on the back door, it was broken. They took everything but the dining room rug. That's why Grandpa's home now. He thinks the crooks will be back. He's sitting on the rug because he says if they take that, they'll have to take him, too. We better hurry.
Yeah?
Grandpa's not very big.
9:45 a.m. Ben and I drove little Ruth Ann Snyder back to her home on College Avenue. It was an old-fashioned wooden frame structure, a few doors up from College Avenue and Everett Way. Ruth Ann showed us inside and introduced us to her grandfather, Mr. John H. Snyder, age 78.
He told us that a year ago, he and his wife, Ruth Ann's grandmother, had come to California from Indiana and rented the house on College Avenue. The grandmother had fallen ill and passed away suddenly 3 weeks ago. He and Ruth Ann closed the house and took the body back to Indiana on the train for burial. On their return that morning, they found the house stripped of every piece of furniture. We checked room by room and listed the missing articles. We put in a call to latent fingerprints.
Do you happen to know the serial numbers of your home appliances, Mr. Snyder?
No, sir. I've lived with most of the furniture for 40 years. You get to know the things you own in 40 years.
I know it was in my room, Sergeant. My desk, my table, and chair, the bed, the curtains. They took everything.
Well, how about the estimated value of the furniture, sir? What would you say it was worth?
Dollars and cents? Oh, I don't know. What's a house full of furniture worth to anyone? Guess everybody puts their own value on their things.
Yes, sir, they do.
Solid walnut dining set. A wedding present. Mahogany front room table. A solid too. It cost money in their day. All gone.
Were there any liens against the furniture, sir?
How's that?
Did you owe anything on the furniture? I mean, there was no trouble with the finance company or anything like that.
Oh, we didn't even know what a finance company was when the wife and I was married. It was sad enough trip as it was. And Ruthie and me get here this morning, and everything's gone. All we own. Ruthie.
Yes, Grandpa?
Where the thieves broke in, would you show the officers, please?
It's back this way.
Okay.
How are you and your grandfather going to make out here, Ruth?
Grandpa says we'll buy 2 cots for tonight, Army surplus. There's no stove to cook on. We'll have to eat out. Later we'll have to go back to Indiana. Grandpa doesn't have much money. He's on a pension. Here's the back door. Let's see what they did to get in.
Must have used a hammer and a crowbar. Smashed it clean through.
You'll find the crooks, won't you, Sergeant?
We're going to try, Ruth. Better have the crime lab check this, huh?
Yeah. How about your neighbors, Ruth? You know any of them well?
I know who they are. I don't know any of them good. They're not very friendly.
We'd like to ask you and your grandfather a few more questions, Ruth.
All right. I don't know what I'm going to do when school starts. They stole all my stuff, even my composition tablets. I didn't have to take those.
Which grade are you in, Ruthie?
I was in A7. I'll be in the B8. Why did they take my school things?
I don't know.
You see how they got in back there?
Yes, sir, we did. By any chance, did any of your neighbors know that you and Ruth here were going away?
Well, I didn't mention it, no.
Then no one kept an eye on your house while you were gone?
No, I didn't think it was necessary.
Might have helped.
I just remembered, Grandpa. Mrs. Merton. I told her we were going away.
Who's that, Ruth?
She runs a store down at the corner of the bird store. She sells canaries, other kinds of birds, too. Mrs. Merton's her name. Store's right down the corner.
You figure she's the only one who knew you'd be gone from the house for some time.
Must have been the only one.
All right, Mr. Snyder, we'll be back to see you later on. Here's our card. We'll see if we can't do something to help you out here.
Let's see here. Friday, Romero, burglary detail. All right, thank you, boy. Ruthie will show you to the door.
Yes, Grandpa.
Goodbye, sir.
Oh, say there.
Yes, sir.
Guess you understand, but I'd like to apologize anyway. I just couldn't do it.
What's that, sir?
Offer you a chair.
10:30 a.m. Ben and I called the Salvation Army and told them the Snyder situation. And then we went down the street to the store at the corner of Coolidge Avenue and Everett Way. The sign on the window said Mrs. Merton's Birdland, manager Agnes Merton. We tried the door. It was locked. A cardboard clock hanging on the glass door read, "Be back at 1 p.m." So we went back up to College Avenue and we started ringing doorbells. Some of the residents on the block didn't even know the Snyders. Of those that did, only 2 had noticed any activity at the house during the 3 weeks Mr. Snyder and his granddaughter had been away. They told us that they'd seen a moving van parked in front of the house about a week before. They also saw men moving furniture from the house into the van. Neither of the 2 could describe the vehicle or remember its license number. 12:45 p.m. We had a cup of coffee and a hamburger, and then we headed back for Mrs. Merton's bird store.
Yes, ma'am. Police officers. Have a few questions for you.
Certainly. Something about birds?
No, ma'am. About one of your neighbors.
Oh.
The Snyders? They live just up the street from me.
Oh, yes, old couple. Poor Mr. Snyder passed away, a few weeks ago.
Yes, ma'am, we know.
They have a wonderful granddaughter, Ruthie. She and I are getting to be great friends. The Snyders having some kind of trouble?
We're investigating a burglary at their house.
Oh, was that so? Now, you be quiet, Mary. You heard what I told Blackie. Just eat your food and be quiet.
I guess you knew the Snyders have been away for the last few weeks.
Yes, I did, but they're back. I saw Ruthie pass the window this morning.
You noticed any activity around the Snyder's house since they've been gone?
Well, yes, I did.
And just what you noticed, Miss Merton?
Well, it was 7 or 8 days ago, I think. Some white moving truck stopped in front of their place, and the 2 men started moving up Snyder's furniture.
Uh-huh.
That was a little strange because Ruthie hadn't told me anything about moving. In fact, she said definitely she and her grandpa were coming back after poor Mrs. Snyder's funeral in Indiana.
Did you investigate it all, ma'am?
Excuse me. Who was that? You, Fred? Yes, you ought to be ashamed. You can see I'm busy. Another outburst like that, and all 3 of you, Fred, Blackie, Mary, I'll take care of you. Oh, where was I?
You saw the moving van in front of the Snyders.
Oh, yes. And I went up to the moving men and asked them if the Snyders were going back to Indiana. Well, of course, they didn't know anything about it.
Did you inquire at the Snyder's house?
Well, no, it so happened I didn't. I was on my way to one of the big aviaries in the valley, and I just didn't have time to stop.
How about the moving van? Did you happen to notice the license?
I don't remember the numbers.
Any identifying marks about the truck you might remember? Maybe a sign on the side?
Yes, the side of the truck was painted white. And there was large blue lettering on it, van and storage, it said. I remember that much.
Was that all?
Well, yes, as I said, I was in a hurry. I had to pick up 3 sick canaries out in the valley.
Is there anything else about the incident you can remember? Anything at all?
No, I'm afraid not.
Well, thank you very much, Miss Merton. Here's our card if you happen to come across any further information.
Yes, all right. I'll have to go see the Snyders. Maybe I can help.
Fine. Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yes, goodbye.
Bye.
Fred, now you step up just a minute. Fred?
Well, not much help there.
Not much. Give me an idea, though. Wedding present for the Austins.
Yeah?
Maybe a couple of canaries? And a nice cage?
p.m. We went back to the office. Reports had come in from 2 more victims. That night, Ben and I drove out to interview them. The circumstances of the theft and the M.O. of the criminals matched identically with the Snyder case. Both of the families victimized had gone off on vacations and neglected to notify either the neighbors or the patrolmen in their area. Both had allowed daily newspapers to collect on their doorsteps in their absence and otherwise left signs that their homes were vacant. In both cases, the thieves had forced an entrance through a back door or window, stripped the house of every last piece of furniture, and either hauled it away themselves or hired somebody to do it for them. We started canvassing the 2 areas where the crimes had been reported. Again, the neighbors saw the moving vans, but none were able to definitely identify the vehicles or their license numbers. Captain Fulton called us into his office.
You're going to have to try harder. I know they're hard to get, but get them fast.
Done about everything we can so far, Skipper.
Only one small lead. The thieves seemed to be using a different moving van on each job. We started to check the movers around town, the transfer companies.
Leighton Prince come up with anything yet?
No luck there.
Well, the lousy rackets we've had since I came on this detail. Whole house full of furniture, everything a family owns.
Yeah. We'll stay on top of it. The stats office may come up with something.
How about an outlet for all that stuff that's been stolen? Thieves can't be sitting on it.
Pawn shop and second-hand details have been alerted.
They're checking regular outlets, auction houses, second-hand places, nothing yet.
About some kind of preventive idea, at least slow them down.
Good dose of publicity on the whole thing would help. If only people wouldn't keep it a secret when they're going away. Neighbors aren't alerted. That's why a lot of them didn't think much of it when they saw the moving vans parked at those houses.
And drawing blinds and the newspapers on the doorsteps didn't help much either. It's an open invitation.
Well, I'll see what we can do on the publicity end. We've had one campaign on this already. No, excuse me. Burglary, Captain Fulton. What's the address? Okay, I got it. Thank you. Here you go, another one. 63 hours, just call it in. Family back from vacation. Furniture all gone. Here's the address here.
Thank you.
Better get on it right away.
Let's go.
I'll have a little more help for you on this tomorrow. Crowley and Barnes will be free. They can work with you.
Okay, Skipper.
Check you later.
Right.
Sergeant Friday?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
remember me, don't you, Mrs. Merton?
Oh, sure. The bird store. Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Well, they told me to wait here. I guess everything will be all right now.
Yeah?
I saw it today on Olive Street. Here.
Hmm?
The truck that came to Snyder's house. That's the license number.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Here is the reason why. When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
And because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more and more smokers say it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Dick Hyland, sports columnist.
I agree, says Mrs. Deems Taylor, painter and theatrical designer.
I agree, says Frank Fenton, author.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. Best of all, long cigarettes.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette.
Tuesday, August 11th, 6 p.m. The license number, which Mrs. Merton had given us, was checked through DMV. We found that the truck was registered in the name of a local second-hand furniture dealer by the name of Ralph Grismore. We checked his name through the police commission and in the I Bureau. He had a good reputation, no criminal record. Early the next morning, we picked up Mr. Snyder and his granddaughter, Ruth, and we drove to Grismore's second-hand furniture store. We identified ourselves and asked to look at his buy book. Under the date of July 27th, Grismore had recorded the purchase of more than 3 dozen articles of furniture from a house on College Avenue. The address was that of the Snyders.
A man and a woman, Sergeant, they said they'd sold their house and they're going east. Man said the company he worked for transferred him to Boston. Told me he had to get back to take over his new job.
Would you recognize the people if you saw them again, Grismore?
Sure, I think so. The woman was a great talker. She said they figured on selling the stuff piece by piece. They'd get more, but since they had to leave town the next day, she decided to sell the whole lot to a dealer.
You got the furniture for a pretty low price, didn't you?
Pretty good price, yeah. That's why I went along in the fast deal. Wasn't going to talk myself out of a bargain. They wanted to sell fast, so I wanted to buy. I didn't think anything was wrong.
Sergeant.
Yeah, Mrs. Snyder?
Our walnut dining room set. That's it right over there.
You sure, Mr. Snyder?
Cigar bun on top, just above one of the legs. Know it anywhere. Seems to me that's our mahogany table. I'll look.
Sergeant, this table and my desk, here we are right here. My school stuff, too.
All right, Ruthie.
Yeah, they sure stuck me all right. That's the last fast deal I ever make.
How did they contact you, Grismore? What kind of approach did they use?
Called me on the phone. I came out and gave them an appraisal on the stuff. Nothing suspicious about either the man or the woman.
That's so?
She was in a house dress, bandana around her head. The guy was in old clothes, just as homely as you please. Looked like he was doing a little repair work around the house, you know.
Mm-hmm. You notice if they had a car parked by the house?
No, matter of fact, I didn't. There wasn't any in the driveway.
Mm-hmm. No argument over the price you offered them for the furniture?
No. They seemed to hesitate a little, but they took my first offer. I thought I had a good deal. I don't know.
How'd they react after you agreed on a price? In a hurry?
Said they had to board a train that night for Boston. They asked me to get the furniture out right away.
Mm-hmm.
The woman said they had other business to wind up, so if they weren't at the house when I came back with the van, why, she'd leave the back door open for me.
I guess you realized you were going to have to place a hold on this furniture that you bought.
Yeah, I know. I got nobody to blame but myself.
We gave this man and woman a check for the full amount of the sale. Is that right, Grismer?
$550 down the drain.
Do you have the canceled check?
No, not yet. If you like, you can probably get it from the bank. Don't imagine those crooks would waste any time cashing.
We'd appreciate it if you'd run down to the bank with us now.
Okay, sir.
Sergeant, could I speak with Mr. Grismore?
Sure, Mr. Snyder.
Mr. Grismore.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry about all this. I didn't know.
Oh, I understand, sir. You buy furniture, don't you?
Yes, sir.
What could you give me for 2 Army surplus cots?
Grismore made arrangements to round up Mr. Snyder's furniture and ship it back to his home. Then we took him down to his bank where he recovered the canceled check for $550. The endorsement read, Mr. Thomas Butterworth. According to the bank teller who waited on them, the suspect had cashed the check shortly after the sale of the Snyder's furniture. From the second-hand dealer and the clerk at the bank, we got a complete description of the man and woman known as Mr. and Mrs. Butterworth. We also had photostatic copies made of the check and specimens of the handwriting from the endorsement. From the descriptions, we checked the suspects through the stats office. We got nowhere. During the next 2 weeks, we found 6 more second-hand dealers who had been taken in on the same furniture deal. The description of the man and woman matched, and so did the handwriting and the endorsements on each check. There was only one variation. The couple went under a different name on each occasion. Wednesday, August 26th, 9 a.m.
12 cases like this today, is that right?
That's it, Captain. Got the description, M.O. handwriting. Still can't reach him.
Those thieves have been freewheeling for a month now. What's going to take to stop them?
Well, Ben came up with a pretty good idea this morning. We'd like to talk it over with you.
Oh, what's that?
Kind of a system of decoy, Skipper. We were thinking it might be a good idea to contact all the division captains and have them ask their men if they have any neighbors going on vacation.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if we got a few dozen houses spotted around the city, we could plant a few things. Make them look obviously vacant.
We'd keep the houses covered at all times. They ought to make pretty good bait for those thieves.
Uh-huh. How would you set it up?
We could make arrangements to get a key to each home, keep the milk and paper deliveries coming, let them pile up on the doorstep. We could reimburse the people for whatever it cost.
We're not making any headway. We could run this for a couple of weeks, see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Try it.
9:30 a.m. We contacted all division commanders requesting them to ask their men to contact burglary detail if they knew of any of their neighbors about to leave on a vacation. During the next 2 days, the response came in and the plan went into effect. 40 homes throughout the city were spotted as decoys. They were kept under surveillance at all times. In the week that followed, 2 more burglaries of the same type were reported, but the suspects failed to try any of the decoy homes. The men in the pawn shop and second-hand details continued to work right along with us. The stolen furniture kept turning up, but not the thieves. Again, the homes that had been broken into displayed all the usual signs that the occupants were away. Old circulars and newspapers scattered on the lawn, milk bottles lined up at the door, all the blinds drawn. The decoy plan continued. No results. August 31st, we had a report of another burglary involving the theft of furniture. We made our investigation. 2 p.m. We went back to the office to get out a list of stolen articles.
Hi, Ben. Joe?
Hi, Austin. When'd you get back from your honeymoon?
Late last night. Say, Solomon, I'd sure like to thank all you fellas for that wedding present you sent us. Darn nice of you.
Well, we're glad you liked it, Austin.
Sure a beauty. I'd like to ask you a question about it, though. I hope you won't take it wrong.
No, go ahead.
Well, what is it?
You've got an early American house, haven't you?
Yeah, that's right.
It's an antique.
Yeah?
It's an apple peeler. One of the first ever built.
Oh, sure. Thanks a lot.
I get it. Burglary Friday. Yeah? Where? Right away, thanks. One of the decoy houses.
Yeah?
We got a bite. Together with Sergeants Crowley and Austin, we drove out to the decoy house where an unidentified man and a woman had been seen forcing entry through a back door. They'd been spotted by a police officer's wife who lived next door and who had called in the report. We parked down the street from the decoy home and waited. 5 minutes passed. We saw a woman dressed in a house coat come out onto the porch of the house, look up and down the street, and then go back inside. A few minutes after that, a gray Chevrolet sedan pulled up in front of the house. A man in a dark suit got out and entered through the front door. Ben called communications for a make on the car.
80K to Control 4. 80K to Control 4. Request DMV on 6 Mary 6778. Repeat, 6M 6778. Information urgent.
Roger, 80K. KMA 367.
We waited. There were no signs of activity from the decoy house. 2 minutes after Ben put in the call, we got our make on the gray sedan.
Control 4 to 80K.
80K, go ahead.
6 Mary 6778. 6M 6778 is registered to the Donahoe Furniture Company. Legal the same. 7811 Harvard Boulevard. It is a Chevrolet Deluxe 2-door sedan, 1941 model. Engine number C6VA4414.
80K, Roger. KMA 367.
A few minutes after the call back, a moving van drove down the street and backed into the driveway of the decoy house. The sign on the side of the van read Donahoe Furniture Company. 2 men got out, went up to the front door, and were let in. They came out in a couple of minutes and loaded a sofa into the moving van.
Okay, Joe.
Crowley and Austin get the sign.
Here they come.
Let's go. Hey, you and Crowley want to cover the back, Austin?
Right. Let's go, Crowley. Yeah.
Come on, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. You want something?
Police officers like...
Come on, run! Stand still, you.
Austin and Crowley got her.
All right, hold still, mister. Hold still.
Hey, what's this all about? You cops?
That's right. You?
Max Donahoe. I'm buying this lot of furniture. Something the matter?
You're buying from the wrong people. They're not the owners. You better have your men move that stuff back in the house.
Okay, if you say so.
All right, Rudy, relax.
Take it easy, Helen. There's no use fighting. They got us.
You started it. I told you luck doesn't last forever.
Okay, all right. Don't make it worse.
All right, let's go.
I'll take her, Austin. You better fix your shirt.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's your hand.
Hey, what's the matter with your shirt, Austin?
What? Must have happened when she tried to get away.
Yeah, lipstick all over the car there.
Doesn't look very good.
No, it doesn't. What are you going to tell your new bride?
I got nothing to hide. I'll tell her the truth.
Yeah?
She'll believe me. Won't she?
The story you just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On November 25th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Under our system of law, the jury selected to hear a case is accorded complete freedom. The jury's decision is the final result of the testimony and evidence presented in the course of the trial. And so with Fatima. They are the final result of carefully selecting and blending only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, buy a pack of Fatimas and compare them with other long cigarettes, and you'll see the difference is quality. Yes, in Fatima, the difference is quality. So, smoke Fatima.
The suspects were identified as Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Dunbar. They were arraigned on 15 counts of burglary and tried and found guilty on all counts. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice came from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. Bob Hope returns October 3rd on NBC.
Thanks for listening to HOJO Radio. We have more classic radio coming your way next.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the homicide detail. A socially prominent citizen is plotting to kill his wife. He tells you his plans for the murder. He hires you to do the killing. Your job, stop him.
When you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima, difference is quality. If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Fatima is the quality, king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Smoke Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 17th. It was raining in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 4:18 p.m. when we got to room 26, chief of detectives' office.
Come on in, man. Have a seat. Did you close the door, Friday?
Yeah, sure.
Captain Steve, Sergeant Romero, Sergeant Friday. I'd like to have you meet Special Agent Ray Kimball, Public Utilities Commissioner.
How do you do, Mr. Kimball?
His friend, Mr. Trudeau.
How do you do?
Trudeau?
Oh, I see.
Gentlemen, Mr. Kimball and Mr. Trudeau here have some important information to give us. Mr. Trudeau, would you like to repeat for these officers what you told us a few moments ago?
Yes, sir. Well, a friend of mine wants me to kill his wife for him. I'm convinced he means to go through with the thing.
Naturally, it goes without saying Miss Kimball here will back up the veracity of the story.
Well, Mr. Trudeau, who is your friend? How long have you known him?
His name's Charles Stone. Guess maybe you heard of him. Owns a string of warehouses around town. I used to work for him.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, the other day he called me and asked me if I was working, and I told him no. Then he asked me to meet him in front of the public library. And that was last Saturday afternoon.
Did you meet him?
Yes, I did. And he took me to a bar in the neighborhood, started telling me all about his troubles at home.
Mm-hmm.
He said his wife was stepping out on him, running around with other men. Well, we had quite a few drinks, and I guess I thought that's what accounted for it.
What's that, Mr. Trudeau?
Well, he leaned toward me and he said, here's the dope. The wife and I haven't been getting along well at all for about a year. She's stepping out with some other guy on me, and to make a long story short, well, that's when he told me.
I see.
He said, I want to lose her. What do you say? Well, I told him I didn't quite get the drift of the thing, and then he said, I want my wife killed. I'll pay you $1,000 for the job.
Mr. Trudeau, have you any idea why he contacted you on this thing?
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that I hadn't been able to work for some time. He knew I needed the money pretty badly. As soon as I was sure he wasn't kidding about the murder, I told Mr. Kimball here, he's an old friend of mine.
Yeah.
Said the only thing to do was to take it to the police.
Did this Mr. Stone make this proposition to you more than once?
Yes, he did. Kept reminding me how much I could use the $1,000. Well, all I could say was that I knew his wife too well. I couldn't do it.
What did Stone say to that, sir?
Said I had cold feet. Told me I was just like another man he'd lined up to kill his wife. Told me if I didn't want the job, he'd get someone else to do it.
Do you think he might go for a substitute, Mr. Trudeau, one of our men?
I don't know, Chief. There's only one thing I'm sure of.
Yes, sir.
He wants his wife dead.
4:42 p.m. The meeting in the chief of detectives' office went on. A man by the name of Charles Stone wanted his wife murdered. He'd offered $1,000 for her death. He'd approached two men to do the job, and both had refused. From the information we'd received, we knew he wouldn't stop there. There are a lot of people who'd kill for $1,000. It was only a matter of time till he found one. The plan was formulated, and Ben and I were assigned to the case. 5 p.m. Together with Captain Steve and Mr. Trudeau, we left Thad Brown's office and went down the hall to homicide.
In your last meeting with Stone, Mr. Trudeau, you refused outright to have anything to do with this plan to have his wife murdered. Is that right?
That's right.
Did you leave any opening at all?
Well, just to get away from the guy, I told him if I heard of anybody that would do the job, I'd let him know.
Do you think that maybe he'd listen to you if you went back and suggested somebody?
I don't know. He'd listen to me, but he's no dummy. You got to understand that. He's going to be careful.
Well, which one of you is going to play the killer?
I'd like to try it, Skipper.
Who's going to fit the part best? Trudeau here just told you that Charles Stone's no pushover.
I don't know, Captain. This officer here...
Me?
Yeah, no offense, but I'd sure peg you for a cop.
You would? Why's that?
Well, I don't know. You just look like one, I guess.
Well, Joe is a little closer to average height, weight.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Captain. He doesn't look like a cop.
All right. Now, Mr. Trudeau, you're willing to go along with us on this thing?
Certainly, Captain. Anything I can do. You just tell me what you want.
Well, just as soon as possible, we'd like to have you contact Mr. Stone. You'll know how to approach him so as not to make him suspicious.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Joe, how do you want to go about this?
Well, I better use some kind of an alias. Let's see, Matson. Joe Matson.
Mm-hmm.
How about Kelly? Just plain Kelly.
That's fine with me.
Good. Now, how about your background, then? Better get that straight with Mr. Trudeau here.
Well, suppose I tell him I'm from Phoenix, huh? I know that town pretty well. He might ask me some questions about it.
Okay. And now, how'd you happen to know Trudeau, the Army?
Did you ever serve in the Army, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, sir. 42 to 45. CBI fitter.
All right. Well, we served together in the Army, huh? Let's make it from China. Quartermaster Corps, all right?
All right. And now, Mr. Trudeau, this is all you'll have to do. Set up a meeting with Stone as soon as possible. Introduce Friday as the man who's willing to do the job for him, an old Army friend. Then step out of the picture as quickly as you can.
All right, Captain. I understand.
It goes without saying, we certainly appreciate your cooperation.
And not at all, sir. I'm only glad I'm in a position to help out.
You'll probably save that woman's life.
I wish I could be sure.
How do you mean, Trudeau?
The last time I saw Charlie Stone was 3 days ago.
Maybe he's hired somebody else.
5:30 p.m. Captain Steed ordered 2 teams of men from Homicide to watch Charles Stone's wife, Mildred, until further notice. For her own protection, she'd be kept under 24-hour surveillance without her knowledge. We checked the I Bureau to see what we could find on Charles Stone. He owned a gun, a .32 Smith & Wesson revolver. That's all we found. He had no criminal record. We knew of him only as a social figure from a prominent family, and supposedly he was happily married. He owned and operated a chain of 6 warehouses throughout Los Angeles. His business reputation was good. Captain Steed ordered that Charles Stone also be placed under 24-hour surveillance immediately. He would be kept under watch without his knowledge. Ben Romero and Gil Encinas were one of the teams assigned to tail him. The next morning, I checked in for work at the usual time. At 10:15 a.m., I left Captain Steed's office and went into the squad room. Homicide, Friday.
This is Mr. Trudeau, Sergeant. I saw Charlie Stone a few minutes ago.
Yes, sir. How'd it go?
We talked about 20 minutes. I told him you must be willing to do the job.
What'd he say?
He wants to meet you.
Before he hung up, Trudeau told me that Charles Stone would meet us that night in Section B in the grandstands at the midget auto races out near Santa Monica. I informed Captain Steed of the development, and then I left the office, went home, put away my gun and all my identification, changed into some old clothes. I boarded a bus and rode back downtown to the Skid Row area where I rented a single room in a cheap hotel. I signed the register J. Kelly, Phoenix, Arizona. 5:30 p.m. I went to Coken's Cafe on the corner of South Main and Sotella Street. Captain Steed was waiting for me in one of the rear booths.
Hi.
Hi.
You look like you're all set.
How's the outfit strike you okay?
Fine. Your old leather jacket's a good touch. Oh, better let your beard grow a little.
All right. I rented a room in one of the hotels down here. I could use a little expense money.
Glad you said a little. All right, I'll fix it up for you.
Here's the phone number of the hotel in case you want to contact me.
Good.
One thing that's got me a little worried, Skipper.
Yeah?
The legal angle. You know, you can get pretty close to entrapment in cases like this.
Nothing to worry about. You just play it straight down the line.
Yeah?
The idea for the crime has to originate in the mind of the criminal. It's got to be all his idea. You just go along with it.
Okay.
Be sure and keep us posted.
Yes, I will.
Murder of his wife means a lot to Stone. He wouldn't want anybody getting in his way.
Yeah.
Be careful.
That night I had dinner with Trudeau at a cafeteria on South Grand, and then we caught a bus and rode out to the stadium where they held the midget auto races. We found the seats where Charles Stone was to meet us, numbers 4 and 5, row 27, section B, main grandstand. The auto races started. At 10 minutes past 8 p.m., Charles Stone arrived. He looked like an average, prosperous businessman, well-dressed, medium build, dark hair that showed a few streaks of gray. Trudeau introduced us, and then he left.
Where you from, Kelly?
Phoenix.
Like midget auto races?
That's not why I came out here. Trudeau said something about a job.
Sure. Guess he told you what it's about.
Yeah?
You ever handle anything like this before?
I'd be a sucker to answer that one, wouldn't I?
I just want to know if you could handle it.
Trudeau told me about it. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it.
Got a good job. Gotta be sure it's done right.
What are you looking for, references?
Gotta be careful, that's all.
What about me? I don't know you from Adam. How do I know it won't be a double cross?
Don't worry about a double cross. Let's go to all the grandstand. Get away from this crowd.
Fine with me.
You haven't said anything about money yet.
Funny time talk money.
Like to know.
How much you want?
Trudeau said 1,000.
Yeah.
When could you get it?
When would you want it?
Before. I'd be a dope to do the job without getting paid first.
I'd be just as stupid to give it to you first. Say, can I buy you a hot dog, cold drink?
Okay.
Matt?
Yeah,
One hot dog, couple of root beers?
1 dog, 2 beers.
You like root beer?
Sure. How about settling on the dough, huh?
You do the job, you'll get paid. You can ask Trudeau if you like. He'll tell you I keep my word.
Well, it's got to go fast, that's all. I may have a job lined up in Phoenix. I got to get that dough and some new clothes. Gotta put up some kind of a front. Why I need the dough fast, no waiting.
You'll get your money. We can work out something.
Hot dog, 2 root beers, 40. Mustard's on the counter.
There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Move over there out of the way.
Okay. But you haven't told me yet.
What?
How do you want it done?
All depends.
I haven't got my gun. I'm on the lam. Have you got one?
No, I don't own one. Couldn't use a gun anyway. Too much noise.
Well, make up your mind.
We'll meet tomorrow night. We can talk about it then.
Look, mister, you expect me to sit on this thing for a week. I'm not making a career out of just this one job.
What are you worrying about? We'll set everything up tomorrow night.
Well, how about $10 on the cuff? I got to live them flat.
That's 5. See, that'll do.
How about that payoff, 1,000? How do we set that up?
We can talk about that later.
Why can't we talk now? Look, Stone, I don't think I like your attitude. You haven't told me how you want the job done. You talk cute every time the payoff's mentioned.
Take it easy,
Take it easy, nothing. I'm taking the chances. How do I know I'm going to get paid?
How do I know you'll kill him?
Before I left Charles Stone, we set up a meeting for the following night at 8 o'clock. I caught a bus and went back to the hotel room. So far, I'd been unable to get any other corroborative evidence on Stone, evidence that could be presented in court. The next morning, I called the office and kept them posted on development. I had my meals at a lunch counter next door to the hotel, and I stuck pretty close to my room. At 3:30 that afternoon, Ben called.
We tailed Stone to the midget auto races last night. Did that do any good?
Well, not bad. Going a little slow, though.
We tailed him after he left here. We drove to Beverly Hills at the apartment house.
Thought he lived in Glendale.
Does. The apartment he went to is registered to Jean Howard. Stayed before this morning. Checked the hard drive out. She's a secretary at one of Stone's warehouse.
Maybe that explains why Stone wants to get rid of his wife, huh?
There's one more thing. We tailed him to a gun shop this morning. Bought a couple of things, and after we stole him, we checked with the store clerk. Told us Stone bought a box of shells, 32 caliber.
Same kind of gun he had registered in it, 32 S&W?
Yeah.
That's funny. Stone told me he doesn't own a gun.
Doesn't look too good in my book.
All right, now let's don't start worrying, huh?
Don't trust him a dime's worth, Joe, that's all.
All right. You want to check with me later on? I've got to keep this line open.
All right. See you later.
Right. Yeah.
This is Stone.
Yeah.
Job's all set up, ready to go.
When?
Tomorrow night.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of New York cover girl Rita Daigle. This is her actual signed statement.
I find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality, and they're extra mild.
You see, Fatima is the quality king-size cigarette because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended.
And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy king-size Fatima yourself.
You'll find king-size Fatima different from other long cigarettes.
They cost the same, but in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Yes, in Fatima the difference is quality.
Ask your dealer for Fatima, the quality king-size cigarette. Best of all, long cigarettes. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Wednesday, February 19th, 8:55 p.m. Charles Stone picked me up in his car at the corner of Alameda and 6th.
He turned onto South Broadway and he headed down for the beach. He hunched over the wheel as he drove. I kept wondering how I was going to pin him down. We were less than 24 hours away from the scheduled murder of his wife, and I still didn't have a case against him that would stand up in court. If he failed to produce sufficient evidence tonight, Stone had a good chance of going free, whether he succeeded in having his wife killed or not. I also had no idea what plans the suspect had made before he hired me to do the killing. There was a definite possibility that he might have arranged for somebody else to commit the actual murder and then set up a double cross with me as the victim. We knew he had a .32 S&W revolver registered in his name, but he denied to me that he even owned a gun. 9:03 p.m. They pulled up in front of Stone's beach house.
Most of the other homes around here are vacant summer places. People don't start moving into the 1st of May.
But you said you were afraid of the neighbors seeing you here.
There's some living up the next block. Oh, can't afford not to be careful. This from here. There's the front door key. See if you can work it.
I know how it works. You go ahead and open it.
All right.
The living room, huh?
Yeah, bedroom's over here. See this door.
All right, what's the story? Where do I start?
My wife should be here about 6 o'clock tomorrow night. She'll be coming down alone to get the house ready for a weekend party.
When do you want me here?
About 4 in the afternoon. Here. Here's the key to the front door.
Better pick it up and hand it to me, huh?
Okay, here you go. First thing you do when you get here is pull out all the drawers in the bedroom bureau, scatter things around, make it look as much like a burglary as you can.
Yeah?
And in here in the living room, desk drawer, table, cupboard. Turn it inside out, throw things around.
Leave my fingerprints all over everything?
I've taken care of that. A pair of gloves of mine. You'll find them here in this drawer, remember that.
All right.
Let's see now, oh, yeah, cash cord. I'm sure this ought to serve the purpose. Shouldn't have any trouble.
Yeah. Piece of rope's pretty new. It's a little slippery.
Won't be with the gloves on. She's not very strong. Shouldn't have any trouble. I'll leave the rope here in the closet.
You sure she's going to be alone?
Positive.
Where am I supposed to hide?
I'll show you. Here. Right by the front door. Closet.
Yeah.
My wife comes in, closes the door. She'll probably go out to the bedroom and take off her coat. Follow them and do it fast while the back's turned. No screams. Neighbors might hear.
All right.
Want it clean and quiet. Do it as quickly as you can. Now, when it's finished, here's what I want you to do with it.
What's that?
Take the body and bring it this way. Come here, I want you to see.
All right.
That's the living room with these French doors. Open this one. You won't have any trouble. Take the body out here on the porch. Come with me now. I want you to get this square in your line. Yeah, I think I've got it. Take it down to this end of the porch. Right to the railing. Leave her here. It's very important, you understand? All the way down to the end of the porch here.
I don't get it, but I guess it's all right.
All right, let's go back in.
Look, Stone, I may forget the layout of this house here. If you draw a floor plan for me. I don't want to get mixed up here.
No, there's paper in the desk there. You can draw it yourself before you leave tonight.
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Can't afford to take any chances. What was it? Yeah. After you're finished, using the rope, I mean.
Yeah.
You'll find some rings on my wife's fingers. Take them all off. Big setting especially. There'll be a bracelet on her left wrist. Take that too.
What'll I do with them?
Put them in this white vase in the mantel here. The rings and the bracelet. Don't miss any of the rings. They're expensive.
Well, how about me bringing them to you? I can pick up my dough at the same time.
No, put them in the vase. As soon as that's done, leave here and go back downtown. I'll fix her up before we mess tonight. 6mm, 7:30 sharp. Have the money for you then.
So you're going to be at 6 o'clock?
I have to cover myself. I'll stay on at the office. Special conference.
I don't know. I don't think I like this.
What do you mean you don't like it?
Suppose something should happen. I got no protection. I'd feel a lot better with a gun.
I told you I don't have a gun to give you. Why would you need one anyway?
I'd feel a lot better, that's all.
Buy one if you want. That's your problem. I'll pay you for a job.
I haven't seen your money.
I told you, when the job's done, you get your money then.
But just one thing I want to make sure of. No mistakes here.
Don't worry, you get your pay. Ask Trudeau if you like.
tell you can trust me. You can ask anybody.
About your wife. Before I left Charles Stone, I got one more valuable piece of evidence out of him, a special phone number written in his handwriting on the back of one of his business cards. In case anything went wrong, I was to call him at this number. In his own handwriting, I also got a list of times that I was supposed to remember. When to come to the house, when to leave, when to meet him for the payoff. The next afternoon at 3:30, I left the hotel and drove my car out to Venice to Stone's beach house. Captain Speed and another officer from Homicide followed me out. They waited in the house together. Shortly before 6 p.m., Mrs. Mildred Stone arrived with Biff, Shannon, Gill, and Tina. She refused to believe the story of her husband's plot to have her murdered. Captain Speed laid out the evidence for her.
This key, Mrs. Stone, you recognize it?
I guess it's the one for the front door. Mr. Charles.
He gave it to this officer, Mrs. Stone, the man who was supposed to murder you.
No, I don't believe it.
Do you have any idea what's in that closet, man, that one over there?
There's nothing in there. I cleaned it out the last time we were here. I cleaned out all the closets.
I'd like to show it to you, man.
Here's a rope. I never saw that there before.
Mr. Stone gave it to me. It's supposed to be the murder weapon.
Just one more point, ma'am. Over here, please. Do you know what's in this drawer here?
Empty. It has to be. We never keep anything in there. Only when we move down to the summer months.
Joe?
Right. Care of your husband's old gloves. Is that right, ma'am?
Well, why would they be there? What for?
I was supposed to wear them while I was in the house so I wouldn't leave fingerprints.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Here you are.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Stone. We know it's a terrible shock for you. I think you realize we had to tell you.
It's all right. You've been very kind to save my life. I'm sorry now that happened. It would have been better if he'd succeeded. Much better.
Take it easy, Mrs. Stone.
Terrible, terrible thing. Is there anything I can do for him?
He wanted to have you murdered, ma'am.
I know that. He wanted me dead.
Yes, ma'am.
Only one thing.
Yeah?
He's my husband, Sergeant. I love him.
6:45 p.m. I telephoned Charles Stone and told him the job was done. His wife was murdered. He said he'd meet me at 6 on Alameda Street for the payoff as scheduled. I waited. He failed to show up. At 7:30 p.m., Stone was placed under arrest as he parked his car in front of their Venice beach house. A loaded .32 caliber revolver was found in his pocket. He was taken back to the city hall, the chief detective's office. Ben and I waited outside the open door. We could hear Thad Brown start the interrogation inside.
You know what we have you down here for, Mr. Stone? No, I haven't finished idea. What would you say if I told you your wife had been murdered? I think you're crazy. What would you say if I told you that you're accused of a murder? It's silly. It's ridiculous. I've been at work all day. I can prove it. All right, Friday, come in. Thank you. You ever meet this man before?
I've seen him on Skid Row. I don't know him.
Do you recognize the man you hired to kill your wife?
I didn't know the man. I didn't kill my wife. I don't understand all this.
The name's Kelly, Mr. Stone.
He's some fake officer. He's a Skid Row bum. I don't know him.
I don't think that's going to make it, Stone. Both you and your wife have been tailed constantly for the last couple of days. Photographs taken. Midget auto races. 6 on Alameda. Beverly Hills apartment.
Crazy. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mike, did you send the lady in, please?
No, you don't believe all these things you're saying about me, do you?
Here are the rings, Charles. The bracelet, too. I didn't realize how much you wanted them.
I didn't know them. I don't know what I was thinking of.
There, Charles. It's all right now. You'll feel better in a few minutes.
Yes, ma'am. It's all right.
Right.
What's it look like, Joe?
He's starting to talk.
That man, he tries to have her murdered. She goes to bat for him.
What's the proof?
He sure must know him. What do you think?
How about a cup of coffee?
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent. On May 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb. Thank you. To the working detective, the difference between guilt and innocence is proof, in the form of physical evidence, in the form of testimony gathered from reliable witnesses. In determining any suspect's guilt or innocence, the difference is actual proof.
And when you compare Fatima with other long cigarettes, the difference is quality. And Fatima is extra mild. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. You'll find Fatima different from other long cigarettes. They cost the same, but in Fatima the difference is quality. Start enjoying Fatima tomorrow.
Charles Farnsworth Stone was tried and convicted on soliciting the commission of a felony, 2 counts. He received a sentence as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, is brought to Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Hi, folks. This is Bob on the air for Chesterfield every Tuesday night. Consult your local paper for time and station hope.
And Bing on the air for Chesterfield every Wednesday night, Crosby. I've called this little seminar to teach our new boy the ropes.
Say, Sag, I think it's only fair to warn you, with me selling Chesterfield this year, you'll have to limp along lively to keep up.
Okay. Since when have you been any competition, lover boy? When we're in pictures together, who always gets the girl?
Which only backs up the old saying, everybody loves a fat man.
Seriously, friends, Skin Flint and I, we do agree 100% on this. Chesterfields are milder.
And they leave no unpleasant aftertaste. So always buy our cigarettes, Chesterfield.
The best cigarette for you to smoke.
Hear Hope and Crosby Tuesday. Next, We the People on NBC.
Thank you for listening to HOJO Radio. We'll be back again very soon.